Do, 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 do. Yeah. 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 Saturday night. How you doing? Hey, this is Carl. Sorry, I didn't mean to goof off there for a few seconds. But anyway, hey, this is Carl from Carl's Opinion. Welcome to our Saturday night live call-in show and video call-in show. If you want to call in, the phone number is 775-273-8970. If you want to appear by vMix video call, if you've emailed me back and forth in the past, just put in the chat, say, hey, man, I want to I want you to send me an email, and I will send you a link, and you can appear by video call. If we haven't done that before, just put in the chat, say, hey, man, I want to appear by video call, and then just send me an email to ca2jogger@gmail.com. And like I said, it's a call-in show also, so you can call in straight up at 775-273-8970. Anyway, a lot of news to get to, so let's get to it. Anyway, if you saw in the description page, I put in there immigration here and abroad. You know, how the British are also having to deal with this illegal immigration problem. You know, they call them migrants over there, illegal migrants. Well, you have some people in this country calling them migrants also. So I guess it's kind of going par for the course right now. So let's take a look what's going on with the British, unfortunately. So you see the story there, the headline, UK Coast Guard responds as migrants cruise. Yes, they cruise as they cross the channel. Let's take a look. All right, and there's a picture there of a border force British patrol ship. The border, see, that sounds pretty cool. Like we have ICE, we have border patrol, but in Britain they call it border force. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that sounds pretty good. Anyway, it says a border force patrol vessel leaves the port of Dover in England Wednesday, January 2nd, in this file photo. On Saturday, June 1st, 2019, Britain's Coast Guard helped Border Force officers respond Saturday to reports of boats carrying migrants. Okay, London. Here we go. So by the Associated Press, reprinted by the Washington Times, June 1st. Today, British Coast Guard helped Border Force officers respond Saturday to reports of boats carrying migrants off the southeastern coast. The number of migrants detained was not immediately clear. Coast Guard officials, however, said 9 vessels had been, hey, Effie, how you doing there? Oh, I'm awake, sort of. Hey. Yeah, I know it's kind of late tonight. Axe started the show a little bit late, so I just went ahead and put mine on at 10 o'clock, and because he didn't start till about 7, so I just went ahead and bumped mine up to, instead of starting at 9, I went ahead and started at 10 o'clock tonight. So anyway, so the number, let's see, where we go. Coast Guard officials said, however, 9 vessels had been involved in incidents in a coastal area stretching from the port of Dover to Winchelsea Beach near Hastings, 50 miles, or also known as 80 kilometers away. Saturday saw exceptionally warm, sunny weather in sunny Britain. A higher figure of 13 boats was previously given due to multiple reports as events unfolded, the Coast Guard said. So he still had 9 boats, 9 separate boats. Local lawmaker Charles Effe suggested the numbers were unprecedented. The crisis was meant to have been dealt with at Christmas. I guess they said, oh, don't worry, we'll take care of this at Christmas. Well, this is now May. Well, now June, actually, 6 months later. So yet numbers continue to rise, he wrote on Twitter. It looks set to surge to record levels through the summer. The Home Office needs to get a grip on this crisis. Well, you think we got a lot of political correctness over here. Man, they have huge political correctness over there because not only do they have, are they migrants, but they're also Muslims. So they get like the twofer on the the victimhood oppression list. So you can't even say anything about them. I mean, you can't say you say anything about them like, oh, you're Islamophobic or something. It's like, no, man, we just don't want all these people in the country. Then a lot of these people, they're either from the Middle East or from Africa. So then, pick your poison on that one on political correctness. Oh, my God. And I have a story here we'll cover in a little bit about how the African migrants have figured out the loopholes in our immigration system are coming across the southern border as well. That'll be the next story I cover. So anyway, so he says it looks set to surge to record levels through the summer. The Home Office needs to get a grip on this crisis. The reports about migrants coming into the UK using small boats to cross the English Channel are politically volatile. Last year, Home Secretary Sajid Javid declared a rise in migrant crossings to be a major incident. Officials have blamed the influx on smuggling gangs. Well, you can probably blame it on like the different political parties you have in their country, just like we do here. And kind of part and parcel with that story is the next story. This is also from the Washington Times. And African migrants have discovered U.S. immigration loopholes. Well, it's a matter of time. I think when Amy was on here before, she was saying like there were some like immigrants from some like I don't know 18 different countries were among people being caught. And so I mean when the left blabs this all over the television and the mainstream media repeated, oh, well, they can't hold them forever and they have to let them go. And if they come across with families, well, they can only hold them for 20 days. And actually, as I discussed last night, that 20-day number is even a joke because they don't have the room to hold them for 20 days. They don't have any room. I mean, they have people standing room only. The inspector general came down, and that's not somebody you want on your ass. And he's down there saying, hey, you can't be housing these people like this. People are literally standing up. Yeah, one room he came to, there was a bathroom in the corner, and he had some guy standing on top of the toilet just so he could, breathe. He'd get some air, get above everybody. He was so crowded in there, which means, obviously the toilet was not effectively being used. And even if it was, just think about that for a second. I mean, you're in a room with a toilet, and everybody's standing around you. I mean, that's got to stink pretty good. And it's starting to get hot now. I mean, this is May, now June. This is time when I live in Southern Nevada. I lived in Texas. I lived in Southern California. This is now starting to get hot, and it's only going to get worse. And so I guess the Africans said, hey, this whole family coming across the border thing, let's get on that. That sounds like a good idea. Let's do that. So let's take a look at this story. Let me grab a cigarette first. But anyway, oh, hey, Effie, got a new mic here. I'm not sure if you can tell, but yeah, tell me what you think of the sound coming out of it. I personally like it. I've tested it out. I went back, listened to YouTube to my show last night just to hear how the mic sounded and everything. And it's got a brighter sound to it. It's a crisper sound. It's an Electro Voice RE27ND microphone. And I've been wanting it for a while, so I've been kind of saving my pennies up. It's one of those things, I don't buy it till I can afford it. But I've been wanting this for a long time and stuff. Hey, Charity, how you doing, young lady? So, yeah, just let me know what you think of the sound quality coming out of this. I'm be honest with you, I'm very impressed with it as well. So just let me know what you think, how it sounds. Hey, Black and Irish Crazy Chick, how you doing there, young lady? Good seeing you. But anyway, so let's go ahead and cover this story. Yeah, guys, I just covered the story about the British shells. Let me just pop back on that real quick, just to kind of give you a context here. This story I just covered here a few minutes ago. The UK Coast Guard was responding to migrants crossing the Channel, and they showed the Border Force patrol boat. They're having a huge problem. They nabbed 9 boats crossing the Channel, bringing what we call here illegal aliens. What they call there is migrants. Illegal migrants, I guess, crossing the channel into England. So not even a body of water helps them. But anyway, in that context, they're most of the migrants they have coming across are from Africa and from the Middle East. Most of my immigrants illegal immigrants we have coming across are from Central America and Mexico. But now the rest of the world is starting to find out that, hey, this whole family thing, they can't hold us for more than 20 days. They got to release into the general public, and they can't deport us if we have kids. They can't even kick us out. So let's try doing this. So this is the story we're going to cover here. African migrants discover U.S. immigration loopholes. So this is the first all-African large group nabbed at the border. And this is by Stephen Dining, the Washington Times. This is a story from yesterday, actually, Friday, May 31st. Excuse me. Border authorities nabbed a group of 116 illegal immigrants from Africa this week, saying it's the first time they found Africans taking advantage of the large group tactic Central American migrants have learned to abuse. The Africans were caught Thursday night near the border crossing in Del Rio, Texas. Instead of presenting themselves at the port of entry, they jumped the border, an official told reporters. Like Central American groups, this one was comprised of children and families and appeared to be attempting to exploit the same loopholes the Central Americans discovered they could use to gain an illegal foothold in the U.S. and escape deportation. Bring a child, get released, said a Customs and Border Protection official. Yeah, just bring a kid. because then you not only do you get released, you can get released, but you can't. We can't deport you if you have a kid. We can't deport the kid, right? And we can't separate the family, and we can't hold you more than 20 days. So now the word's out: bring your family. And again, I talked about this. I want to say, I think I talked about it also on Friday, where I was saying no. Actually, I talked about it last Monday, where I talked about how the illegal immigrants. Hey, DA Archer, how you doing there? How the illegal immigrants we got coming across now. Back in the past, you'd have a lot of single young men coming across initially, and they would come here, get jobs. A lot of them had jobs waiting for them. I mean, there were jobs advertised for them in Mexico. Come across, come here, come work there, etc. And they get established. Get a job, get some kind of housing or something, and for the most part, then bring their families over, whether illegally or legally, or through chain migration or just illegally. But at least they'd be here first to get set up. I mean, we had migrant families coming across then, but if you looked at the numbers, and I showed some of them on Monday, the numbers are just way out of skew from 2007 till today as far as, family units coming across. And not to mention, when the single men would come across, they use a lot less social services. As I said, men, all the guys in here will understand. We hate going to the doctor, and I'll be honest with you, that's kind of universal. I mean, across the globe, I don't care what country you're from, men, we don't like going to the doctor. So, these young guys come across, plus they're young, they're healthy. The last thing they're going to do is go see a doctor, go to the emergency room, and, they're men, they can't get pregnant and have babies and, need prenatal, postnatal care. So there wasn't such a, and plus, they're men, they don't need public schooling or anything like that. And like I said, they generally had jobs. I mean, they generally had jobs waiting for them. I mean, 2007, 800,000 illegal border crossings from Mexico. They pretty much got absorbed into the economy pretty fast. 2007 was the last year right before the recession, so our economy was booming, construction was still booming, agriculture was way up. I mean, everything was going pretty good. So there were jobs here waiting for them. But now we got these families now because it's crazy, because of the loophole that says if you come across as a family unit first, you can't get deported because the kid can't get deported, and we can only hold you for 20 days. Now, instead of like young men coming across, said, okay, honey, I'm going to go there to Estados Unidos, get a job, get set up, get established, and then I'll come for you. I'll send you money, come across illegally, or I'll get some papers and bring you over through chain migration, something. They're saying, okay, well, screw that. Well, there's all risk going across right now. So they're bringing these young kids on this dangerous journey all the way from Central America all the way up to our border. That's not safe. I mean, again, Huffington Post wrote a story about 5-6 years ago, back when, they were still halfway sane, and they were saying that 80% of women from Honduras, as young as like 8 or 9 years old, had been raped getting across that border. You hear about rape trees where women's clothing is, thrown up in the trees and stuff, and the women are raped. Young girls are raped. Moms give their kids, young girls 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, the morning after pill because it's just assumed they're going to get raped, from the coyotes and the cartel members and whoever else. You have to pay to get across. Maybe part of the payment is your daughter gets raped, you get raped. That's part of the payment to get across. And, the cartels run that border. I mean, that's no joke. I mean, that's not, you don't mess with the cartels. And then also, as far as using the young kids as drug mules and stuff, the cartel comes to your family and says, hey, your 2 kids here are going to carry, we're going to tape drugs to their legs and, they wear their pants over it. And you say, no way in hell, I'm not going to have my kids do that. Well, here comes the chainsaw, and somebody's leg is getting cut off. And say, well, you're right. I guess your kid isn't doing it now. So how about the other kid? Can he do it now? Well, excuse me. I mean, that's how it goes. I mean, it's gruesome. And again, nobody messes with the cartels. They run that whole area. And these leftists, they don't seem, well, then they do understand. They just don't. I was trying to be nice for half a second. They just don't give a shit. They understand that it costs $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 per person to come across that border to pay the cartels. So that's $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 per person, no discount for children, that you're giving to a international drug cartel that kills, rapes women and children. That's what that money's going to. I mean, they don't give a shit. Hey, Bori for America. Hi, Carl. This is all a joke. If the government wants to stop something, they do. They stop the excuse. The country is being invaded. No one can do nothing. These people are criminals. Well, if unfortunately we do have a constitutional, republic here that we live by, so there's only so much they can do. I do like the Trump administration's approach. I like how they're being very, very creative. Let's just put it that way. They're working within the confines of the statutes and our Constitution, separation of powers, which I'm sorry I like. We've been around for 230 years, longer than any other Western democracy out there, and that's mainly because if you're the person wanting change, of course you want it fast. Well, the way the framers set our system up, they set it up so change could not happen quickly. And they did that on purpose. Okay, they knew sometimes when change happens fast, it's not good. So they knew there'd be times of frustration when things couldn't move that fast. But they did provide, the executive branch with Article 2 broad powers to do a lot of things. But they did check the executive branch with Article 1, the Congress, who controls the purse strings. Like they said, okay, well, maybe we're going to get a president who wants to do all this stuff, but we're still going to, wait a second. We're still going to give the House and the Senate the power to control the purse strings so that even if the president wants to get all crazy and stuff, he can only do so much. There's a famous story, it's anecdotal, but like Teddy Roosevelt wanted to send the fleet around the world. And, Congress said, well, no, and we don't want to do that. It's just a big show. You just want to show the world that we're a big superpower now. It's back, early 1900s. And Roosevelt said, well, I want to send the fleet around the world. I think it's important to show the rest of the world that, we've come around. We've arrived. We're now a major power. And Congress said, no, we're not going to pay for it. So Roosevelt, in his, he said, look, I have enough money in my military budget right now. I have enough money to send the fleet halfway around the world. Okay, now, if you don't want to pay for the other half, fine, they can stay wherever they land. Okay, but I'm sending them off halfway around the world, and it's up to you to provide the money to get them home. So that's it was within the confines of the law, and of course Congress. What are they going to do? They they had to provide the money to get them home. I mean, they can't just sail to Japan and then dock there forever. So I mean, same thing with Trump's doing here with the tariffs, the international emergency declaration. We covered that last night. It shows he had broad powers under that. Again, I was watching an interview with NPR. They had one of their experts. NPR is very liberal. Even NPR admitted there's not much they could do when the president declared that. You can use tariffs. You can seize foreign countries' money. I mean, we did that the Iran hostage crisis. We seized billions of dollars from the Iranians. We held it all the way up until just recently when President Obama gave it back to them. So I mean, if you can, look, we stole their money. Okay, if you can steal their money under the statute, trust me, you can impose tariffs on a foreign country. Now, and here's the deal with tariffs. Again, nobody's holding a gun to their head. It's not like you're taking something away from them. Because you say, oh, you don't want to pay the tariff for selling your goods to the United States? Well, okay, well, just don't sell your goods to the United States. Nobody's forcing them to sell us their goods. Nobody's forcing them to sell us their produce, their oranges and avocados and stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm making a joke about this the other day. I had an orange last week from Mexico. In fact, when I went through the line, I was making a joke because I went through the line and I scanned it. It was the automated checkout line. When I scanned it, the machine started speaking in Spanish, and all the language punched up in Spanish. It was pretty funny, I was making a joke about it, but it was true. It actually happened. But I mean, look, we get a lot of our produce from Mexico. We don't have enough in the Central Valley in the Imperial County of California to produce enough, citrus fruit for the whole country. So we have to import it to make up the difference. And if we don't import it, yes, prices will go up. Yes, it will slow the economy a little bit, but again, like in World War II, people forget, like in World War II, a lot of sacrifices were made by the American people. To wit, like you couldn't buy a new car. I mean, all the auto manufacturing was converted over to building tanks and jeeps and for war production. You couldn't get new tires for your car because all the rubber was being used again for the military. Gasoline, you couldn't just go buy gasoline. One, it was very expensive, and two, it was rationed. They gave you ration cards. You can only buy so much gasoline per month. That was it, So sacrifice has to be made for the good of this country. So yeah, we're all going to pay a little bit more. We're going to have to eat it literally a little bit. But this is America. Okay, time to pull out. Everybody talks the talk. Oh, we're patriots. Oh, yay, we're patriots. Oh, we love America. Well, we're in a battle right now. Okay, so if you want to talk the talk, you better be willing to walk the walk. Means you got to pay a little bit more. Tough shit. Means you can't go to Walmart and buy all that cheap shit from Mexico. Tough shit. It's like the same thing with China. We're in a trade war with China. Oh, I want to buy all this cheap crap from Walmart. I want to buy all this cheap crap, put Americans out of work. Oh, yeah, I'm real patriotic, but I shop at Walmart. Hey, fuck you, you shop at Walmart. You're unpatriotic. Anytime you buy some shit from China or from Mexico at Walmart, you are putting Americans out of work. Oh, but I want to buy all this cheap stuff. You know, I don't make that much money. Hey, tough shit on that, too. Get a better job, loser. Okay? Period. This is a war. Wake up, America. I'm tired of all these people claiming they're patriots, and they're over there shopping at Walmart buying all this imported shit. Okay? Tough shit. You want to be an American? You want to talk like an American? You want to come on this side and say you're an American? Well, then act like an American. You can pay a little more for produce. Oh, no. You can pay a little more for lettuce. Oh, no. You can pay a little more for shit. Oh, no. Tough. Okay? This is real. Let's get on it. You want open borders? Hey, man, open them up. Call your representatives, tell them to vote. Do a 2/3 vote in the House and the Senate. You know, veto-proof vote to undo the president's tariffs against Mexico. Do it right now. Do it right now. And tell them to do the same thing with China. Two-thirds of the House and Senate could vote to undo the tariffs against China right now. Tell them you want to go to Walmart, buy some more cheap shit. Okay? You tell them that. Enough of this crap. Anyway, call in number 775-273-8970. And if you don't want to call in, you don't have to. But anyway, so, okay, let's get to the next story. Let's see. Oh, here's one. Here's Trump administration, Mr. Racist in Chief. Trump administration oversees 5-year high in approved citizenship applicants. Figure undermines Democratic criticism that White House is anti-immigrant. No shit. All right. By Stephen Dinan. Homeland Security reached a 5-year high in approvals of citizenship applications last year and swore in more people as naturalized citizens as well, according to the new statistical report released Friday night. Those numbers contradict the criticism of congressional Democrats who had complained about backlogs building at U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. The Homeland Security branch that handles legal immigration said. So there you go. The new report also suggests that far from a crackdown, the government is processing more asylum seeker petitions than any of the last 4 years. That included a 61% increase from 2017 to 2018 in affirmative asylum applications. Though refugee interviews are down from more than 1,250,000 in 26. That can't be right. 1,200,000. I don't know if I buy that number. But anyway, it looks like a typo there. The last year under President Barack Obama to just 26,400 in fiscal year. Yeah, I don't know what that number is, but I know it's not 1,250,000. All right. Still, when the whole panoply of humanitarian programs is considered, asylum refugees, crime victim visas, temporary protected status, and screening for credible fear or reasonable fear of persecution, the numbers were 32% higher than fiscal year 2017. Credible fear and reasonable fear are first steps on the asylum track. USCIS workload has become contentious in recent years, with immigrant rights groups accusing the Trump administration of building a bureaucratic wall to deny people the chance to enter the U.S. legally. The accusation is a play on their disdain for Mr. Trump's border wall intended to stop illegal immigration. Hispanic Democrats in Congress say things are so bad that they requested and have been granted an investigation to be done by the Government Accountability Office. Representative Joaquin Castro, his brother's running for president, chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, said the case backlog is an example of President Trump's anti-immigrant agenda. No, it's because there's tens of thousands of more people coming across the border. And since you told them, Mr. Castro, Mr. Joaquin Castro, chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, since you told them just to walk over and say asylum, that's why the asylum claims are backed up. Because you never had that many asylum claims before until you told them, oh, just yell asylum, even when they're not real asylum seekers, when they're just economic migrants. So if they were just being honest when they got to the border, but you told them to lie to evade a crime that's called aiding and abetting, Mr. Joaquin Castro of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Since you told them to lie and your friends told them to lie, that's why real asylum-seeking cases are being held up, where people really need asylum. I mean, there's some people out there that really need asylum. Like, hey, man, this government is, Guatemala. Like, maybe you're on the wrong side of a political party over there, or maybe you're on the wrong side of the people who are in power. There are real people like that are actually getting threatened, trying to get killed. Okay, so I mean, that's it. Hey, Bruce, how you doing? But I mean, that's true. Okay, so I mean, and then, when you flood the zone with tens of thousands of people who just sell asylum when they don't need asylum. Then the guys who really need it are like, hey man, I really need it. Oh yeah, yeah. It's like I hate to say it's like when a criminal defendant says I'm innocent, I didn't do it. It's like yeah, okay, but I mean, but there's actually there are real people who really need asylum, but they can't get their petitions heard because they got all these idiots in front of them who are lying to Border Patrol. So anyway. So yet the backlog in citizenship applications, for example, exploded during the end of the Obama administration. The Washington Times, which tracked the explosion at the time, sought comment from immigrant rights activists and lawmakers, including Democrats. We didn't find many who blamed the Obama administration for the slow processing. Yeah, see, I mean, okay. I mean, do we have to? I mean, yes, I will say something more. It's like, do we have to say anything more about that? Yes, I will say something more about that. Yeah, when it was the Obama administration, remember those pictures of the kids in the cages? I mean, the real kids in the cages looking up, going, oh, I'm in a cage. Help, I'm in a cage. I'm in a cage. Help me. Please don't let me be in this cage. Help, I'm a little kid. Okay, that was from 2014. Okay, that was during the Obama administration. Okay, and then they quick, and of course, since they never showed it, here's the thing. This is why they didn't catch themselves. Since they had really never showed it before, or it was showed like on 50 minutes into the hour on some show. It's like, oh, by the way, here's a kid, and nobody said anything. So when they grabbed this footage and they said, oh, look, Trump, because they had never seen it before. Nobody said, oh, didn't we show that during the Obama administration? Nobody said that because nobody's seen it. So they put it out there, and of course, then it turns out the kids were in the cages during Obama. Well, nobody said anything then. That was fine. Schumer's actually on the floor of the Senate calling them illegal aliens, which of course, if he said that now, it'd be like, like run out of the chamber. But of course, so anyway, the backlog began during the Obama administration, and nobody seemed to be upset about Obama for that. But now it's Trump. So like, oh my God, Trump's trying to do this on purpose. This is terrible. It's like, yeah, whatever. Hey, Jervis, man, how you doing there? How you doing? But yeah, so let's see here. Where are we going here? Let's see. New numbers. Okay. Let's see. To weed out fraud. Let's see what here. Flags made in China are the peak of ironic hypocrisy. Yes, Effie, I agreed. Flags made in China are the peak. I mean, I will tell you. I bought this flag right behind me from a company that sells only made in the USA. It's the name of the store is actually called GI USA. So this flag was made in the United States of America. The American flag behind me that you see there. Yay! Go USA! 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 All right. So let's see here. All right. See, New University also details some of the more hidden parts of the agency's work, such as efforts to weed out fraud in legal immigration applications. Experts say fraud is rampant. Yeah, no shit. But the agency has not released any major fraud assessments in years. Still, the Fraud Detection and National Security Division reported 149,000. Man, there's a lot of typos in this. 149,300 investigative leads or actions this year, a 14% increase over 2017. That included 30,000 tips of fraud, 7,600. Well, no, okay, it can't be 149,000. Anyway, I don't know who printed this one up, but okay. Well, let's get to the next story. Phone number 775-273-8970. Okay. Boom. All right, let's take a look. Let's see. Oh, here's an interesting story. Don Lemon. CNN's Lemon sours on New York Times for directing reporters to avoid highly partisan cable shows. I'm not sure everybody saw this, but the New York Times put out, well, actually, they didn't put out this statement, but it came out that they were telling their reporters, hey, don't be going on certain... we got a phone call coming in. Hey, Effie, how you doing there, young lady?
Mr. Carl.
So what are you up to?
Sorry I haven't been on your in your chat in the last couple of times. I've been working like crazy.
Oh, well, that's okay. So, you're allowed to work.
Yeah. I did catch up and watch some of your the shows that I missed, and because you were talking on, we had such interesting things happening with the president getting all drawing his line in the sand with Mexico, and I thought that was pretty cool.
That was
And
actually excellent. Excellent.
you had a good show on that. I've been watching a lot of different people's opinion on the tariff, and people are kind of all over the place with it and bringing up a lot of interesting points, pro and con, and so it's kind of hard to know. Yeah, it's interesting. We're in some uncharted territory in a way on this because of modern times being what they are, but I'd like to see how it all pans out.
Well, yeah, I mean, the cons are obvious. I mean, it's going to hurt our economy a little bit. Hey, Sean the Graphic, how you doing there, young lady? But yeah, it's gonna hurt our economy a little bit. It's going to raise the prices of produce at the grocery stores and other goods that we buy from Mexico. But, just like when gasoline prices go up, well, that means that we now have a U.S. oil industry, because if oil prices go below $40 a barrel, our domestic oil industry has to shut down. They can't afford to pay our workers.
Mm-hmm.
So if we all pay a little bit more for gasoline, we have an oil industry in the United States. Same thing here with these tariffs.
Right. Well, on the produce part of it, I was wondering that myself because a couple of years ago, I don't know if you remember, if there was a big don't eat the strawberries from Mexico scare, and also tomatoes and lettuce, if I'm not mistaken. But they water. I researched into that last week. Mm-hmm. They water their strawberries with black water.
Yeah.
You know it. Yeah.
Duty water.
There's like 5 different. Yeah, there's like 5 different kinds of bacteria that we're at risk for getting for importing Mexican strawberries. Do not eat Mexican strawberries ever. Just saying.
No. Not anymore.
We don't do that. Yeah, here in Florida, I always make sure they're Florida grown, but we can pretty much go to a farm and pick them ourselves here, but or grow your own. But my grocery store, it's always Florida grown strawberries. But yeah, don't eat Mexican strawberries, and I frankly wouldn't eat anything else grown in Mexico if I could avoid it.
Yeah, I mean sometimes you
can. And I can.
Yeah, well sometimes you can. It all depends. Like, if you live in a small town like I do, and you got a couple of grocery stores, and they all get produce from the same vendor. You go there, and the only oranges are made in Mexico. Well, not made in Mexico, but grown in Mexico. I mean, they're not buying oranges.
Well, there are greenhouses. Good news.
Oh, or I could grow myself. I could, yeah.
Mhm. You can. You can grow citrus fruits in your living room. They actually will grow, and you have to do things to make them fertile, but still, you can put a lime tree in your freaking window if you want. It's doable.
No, wait,
but,
really? I thought it had to grow outside.
Americans. We can figure this out.
No, I thought it had to grow outside. Hmm? I didn't know you could grow like a lime tree inside your house. Well, that would smell nice too.
I haven't had to do it, but I was following another YouTuber who lives in the Netherlands, which is not really a place you grow citrus fruit.
No.
But he grows his citrus fruits inside his house. So, it must be able to be done if they're doing it. So
yeah,
they
no shit.
grow trees in there. So yeah, I don't see why the United States has to import food from anywhere for any kind of food. We have every climate there is in our country within our borders. So we have everything from polar to tropical. So
yeah, but, we just eat so much
in between.
We just eat so much food. We eat a lot
of
food.
We do, but part of it is a lot of people that had farms sold the farmland out to put, to build suburbs. So, we just need to start tilling more soil again.
Well, yeah,
it's a matter of will there's a way.
No, like where I lived in Corona and Riverside, California. I mean, that used to be a big processing plant for Sunkist Industries. I mean, it was huge because Riverside and Corona, Riverside County was like all orange groves, huge. In fact, I went to school at University of California, Riverside, and right, down the street, I mean, literally like a mile off of campus, these huge orange groves and stuff. But, again, you got a farmer, he's struggling to get by. Here comes a developer going to offer him $2 million for his property and says, don't worry, we'll take care of the trees for you. And that's kind of hard to turn down. That's really hard to turn down.
Yeah, and see, that's pretty much what happened in the early '80s and the mid '80s. Is a lot of farmland became houses, and we just need to reverse that trend. But we may be doing it in a different way, kind of like the Victory Garden scheme, because and that's already naturally occurring. A lot of people, even in the cities, are growing their own food nowadays.
Yeah.
So it's not as dire as people are making it out to be. I mean, and we have better technology now. There's a hydroponic shop in my little town. People can grow, all kinds of things inside their house with a little hydroponic setup. You can go on Amazon. You buy it. There are amazing contraptions that slowly rotate the vegetation that you're growing, and it goes through the nutrients and comes back out, and the lighting and the nutrition and everything's all contained in it, and you just reach in and grab your salad and you're
right.
It's growing in your living room.
Well, it's funny. So, after they legalized marijuana here in Nevada, we had tons of hydroponic, stores and stuff. There's one right around the corner from my office, but it's all for like growing weed.
Yeah. We have the technology. We can grow our own food. Yeah. I mean, I think that's awesome. And in so many ways, it's better for us because, it's better for us, I think, health-wise to not buy food from Mexico. And it's better for us as, insofar as, people need to be more independent, and it's probably better for energy. Hey, they're worried about, CO2 and whatnot. Well, there's a lot less trekking involved in growing your own vegetation, just saying. But,
yeah. No, I mean, if you can do it, it's definitely worth doing, but, let's be honest.
Well, there's also a smaller community. It doesn't necessarily have to be you grow just what you consume, but just the fact that you work with a local, a local garden, because we have that too. We have a local garden where people in town, contribute to the garden. It's a church that actually has it. They have a plot of land, about an acre of land, and they just fill it with vegetation every year. So there's a lot of that in a lot of places. Yeah, it's popular in a lot of Western countries.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it. It just requires some time and effort. And boy, that grocery store is right down the street, and requires a lot less time. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
If you're working and shit,
Yeah, but what are you doing? What are you freaking doing all day? Playing. What do they play? Candy Crush and what are the shooter games nowadays? I don't know. I'm not up to date. But
I don't do that all day.
Put down the iPad and pick up a hoe. I don't mean a hoe. I mean a hoe.
Right. I know what you mean. A hoe. Right. Or get a hoe to help you with the garden. And she can use a hoe.
Do the gardening.
Right. It's like
right.
You're not here for sex. You're here to grow the garden. You have to get your hands dirty.
Just making your cat all pretty.
Exactly. So yeah, this immigration.
Look at your cat. I'm just making it pretty.
Oh yeah, look at that. Well, she's Miss Graphic Girl. I mean, Jesus, God.
Wow.
That was really nice. No, she does really good work. She'll like at the end of the like when we're going to the stream, close off the stream. She'll put all this cool stuff, and it's really nice. Really good stuff. So,
I have another story I wanted to bring up. Minor.
Oh, real quick though.
If it's
real quick.
Okay.
How does the how does the new microphone sound?
Well, I was saying in the chat room, it seems a bit to me. It seems a bit more sharp, but it's also difficult because I'm listening to you on the crappy old speakers on my notebook right now. So.
Oh, I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you because I did remember there's a way to turn down the volume going to you on the phone. So is it too loud at your end on the phone?
No.
That's good?
No, it's good. Yeah.
Okay, because I turned it down already a little bit. Yeah, I already turned it down a little bit from the other night. So it's good right there?
Yeah, it's not doing that. It was what do you
Yeah,
call it? When you have too much
distorting.
volume and it distorts
Right.
really loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't doing.
I
It's
turned
not
it
doing that.
down. I turned it down from like say straight up 12 noon to about 10 o'clock, 10 a.m., 10 o'clock.
Okay,
So I took it down a little.
I
So
think
yeah.
sound.
Okay, good deal.
I
Good deal.
think
But
the
anyway,
sound is.
what was the next point? What's the next point you want to get to?
Oh, I was reading another story about my wonderful
Oh
governor
wait,
DeSantis.
hold on. Thanks, Jervis. Yay. All right, go ahead.
Yay. um, Florida Governor DeSantis, he met with Netanyahu this week. I don't know if you heard about that.
No, tell us. See, this is why I like call-in
Yeah,
shows
I was.
because there's stuff I don't see and somebody else does, like right now. So tell us all about it. What's going on?
Well, it's just interesting to me, and I was just curious if you know anything about those sorts of policies. You know, being that he's a Republican, he's going to get all kinds of fire and hell for him, brimstone. Not so much. He did meet with Netanyahu, and he met with some other political people, but it wasn't really the focus of the trip. The trip was about trade. So he actually was meeting with 100 business leaders and other officials, universities, and other people to work out some, trade agreements between Florida and Israel. So I was just wondering, is that a thing? Like, in other words, is there an issue with state governments, not necessarily companies that are representing individuals, but governments? Is there an issue with state governments setting up trade deals directly with foreign governments?
I don't think so. I'll tell you why. Because you're allowed to have like sister cities kind of setups.
Yeah.
I think possibly you have to. Let's see. I mean, it's federal preemption. The feds preempt. Now, look, if there's no tariff situation or there's no ban, like okay, for instance, if we
Right.
right, so if we have tariffs on China.
Embargo.
Right,
Yeah.
or we embargoing somebody, then a state can't go around that and say, "Well, we're a state, we're sovereign." It does bring up an interesting point, though, the whole issue of sovereignty of the states versus the feds.
Yeah.
But considering the feds have preempted, interstate commerce, international commerce, as long as you play by the rules the feds have set up, yeah, you can set up your own deals. As long as, right, it's not like we're not. The Sanders can't go to Iran and make trade deals with Iran right now. You can't do that.
Okay, that's interesting. He brought along 3 cabinet members who are elected. We have elected cabinet members apparently, and he wasn't having a meeting that wasn't being observed by a representative of the public because we have sunshine laws, but they're still trying to say he's still violating the sunshine law. But
DeSantis?
I don't think so. It's just the left is trying to with anything, kind of thing. But apparently, he took
he might have.
Great
wait, hold on. Here's the funny part. He might have violated the sunshine law by having other people with him. See, it's almost like if he's okay. Like when I was town attorney, if I met alone with a town board member, no problem. Now, if I met with 3 board members, and it wasn't just me telling them stuff, but they were discussing amongst themselves a policy issue, then that was a violation. So it's kind of ass backwards, but it's kind of funny. So, but I mean, the idea that DeSantis meeting with I don't know how the hell would that violate sunshine? I don't know. What are your laws like in Florida?
I don't know. They're crazy sometimes. I don't think it does because I think what he did, he took 3 independently elected cabinet members, which we have watchdog groups and are the leftists. A lot of our newspapers are leftist. So they're saying it does violate, but they don't really explain how. They just, that was their criticism. End of. That's one sentence. So I didn't dig into what exactly their argument was. So I don't know. It just, to me, I know your state has similar laws. So to me, bringing representatives along on a trade meeting is about as far as he can go. He can't invite the whole state along with him, and reporters can come if they want. So
Well, he probably had
what
like the Secretary of State, and maybe I don't know who else did he have. Do you remember?
They didn't list. I'm looking at the article now. They just said 3 different members of cabinet.
And they're
but
saying
it says quote,
go ahead.
Wasn't accessible to Floridians, but it's accessible insofar as any Floridians that wanted to go probably could have gone. You know, he can't help it that Israel's in a different, you know, on a different continent.
So the meeting took place in Israel.
Yeah, he went to the wall and put a prayer in for our hurricane season and everything, which is cute. You know, I thought that was
And
cute.
he has 3 other cabinet members. Well, I mean, like Secretary of State, maybe Commerce, maybe Tourism, probably, or something like that. And he goes over there, and he meets with what do they talk?
Education, because apparently they met with university officials too. So there might have been some, aside from trade, there might have been some, maybe some research partnership deals or something. Who knows?
Right.
There's a lot of stuff that goes on in Florida with, you know, having to do with, you know, environmental research and things like that. We have a lot of issues pertaining to water and invasive predator species and poisoning from runoff from farming and just all kinds of stuff. They're always trying to research and, you know, saving the wildlife and a lot of things. So could have been some of that. Could have been environmental stuff.
But I mean, did they? I mean, I hate to put you on the spot, but were they specific on how they said he violated the sunshine laws?
No, the whole quote is that it says it wasn't accessible to Floridians. I don't see how it wasn't. So
I mean, did they put it online or anything? I mean, do they have
I've read it. This is an article dated May 30th, and this.
I don't know. They're just trying to mess with the guy.
It's an Associated Press article, so it was from the Associated Press in the Miami Herald. The Miami Herald is leftist, of course.
Right.
So obviously, press were there because there's the article. Yeah, I don't know. I guess they can say the narrative is what it is. They can say this happened, we saw it happen, but you know, anything good that happened, they don't really probably want to discuss it.
No, I mean the guy's over there trying to do business. He's trying to bring business to the state, you know, and plus there's a huge Jewish population in Florida, so I mean that would make sense. Go to Israel.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Jesus, the guy's over there trying to help the state. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't just like a pleasure trip. Like, hey, we're going to go to Florida. I mean, we're going to go to Israel, have a party. Yay.
Yeah.
I don't, you know,
yeah,
he's trying to help the state.
Yeah.
Oh, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, because I haven't followed Florida since the election. How's he doing? How is DeSantis doing right now?
Well, I mean, he's a busy guy. He's kind of like a mini Trump to me. It's like every time I check out what's going on locally, he's doing something. The guy is a workaholic. I just was like, wow, I had no idea that he's always doing something, you know, like I'm like, I look up and the man's in Israel doing trade deals for us.
Wow.
So it's an impressive thing, but you know, he was spearheading the whole, working with the with ICE and getting our LEOs trained to be able to release caught illegals back to for deportation. You know, he was coming up with ways to punish our blue counties and cities for their sanctuary city nonsense. And, you know, that's why I was disagreeing with them wanting to put some of these illegals in Florida because, you know,
he'd ship them out.
This is a state that's really...
Right. He sent them back. Like, oh, thanks. Bye.
Yeah. So, you know...
Yeah, send him here. Don't worry. We'll take care of him. No, like, what's that saying? We got it. No, wait. Yeah. We'll take it from here. Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
did you
it's just
go
it's
ahead?
kind of funny, but oh no, it's all. I was just saying it's just kind of funny because both. Well, the president's got his mansion in one of the counties that they were going to send the illegals to, and so the when they changed their mind on that and then allegedly changed back. So I don't know where we ended up on that actually at this point, but the left was saying, "Oh, it's a case of
Oh wait,
not in
hold
my
on, hold
backyard."
on,
Well, I
hold
don't.
on, hold on, hold on. I want to answer a question. Aaron Linsky, why is the slow mode on? Honest question. I'm not trying to be funny. Right. Now, here's the deal with that. I agree. This
What?
is an Axe Truth site where the chat is flying a million miles a minute. But one night we got spam trolled on the chat room. And I talked to some friends of mine and they said, "Oh,
Uh,
real simple. Put the slow mode on and just set it for a couple of seconds. It's only a couple of seconds. Yeah, I didn't set it for like 30 seconds or 40 seconds. But what that does is it prevents a big spam attack on the chat room. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure anybody in the chat room right now was on that night, but I know like Paula was, and I think Laura was, and it was pretty crazy. It was like 50 spam hits at once, and we were like taking them down really fast. So the way you stop that, you put slow mode on, so it allows one person to only do like one at a time, But I only got it set for a few seconds. So anyway, but so I apologize if you can't respond as fast, but it keeps the chat room clean and keeps us from getting spam trolled. And when this happened, I didn't have that many like maybe 4,000 subs, maybe, but like I was getting targeted really heavy. A lot of nasty phone calls and trolls in the chat. It was pretty crazy. It's like I think what they want to do is they want to try to stop you before you get going. Before you start moving up, before you start getting a lot of subs and start getting a lot of people paying attention to you. So like they have this plan to go after people when they're first starting out. And so yeah,
Yeah,
so I talked to some friends of mine, and that's a way to keep that from happening. So I'm sorry if if it's a little bit slower, but it just keeps the spam trolls from hitting the chat rooms, and then it just blows it up. I mean, it was fun that night taking them all out. I mean, there's a lot of them, and I won. I took out the most. Oh, Amy was on there too. That's right, Amy was there too. I remember that. So yeah, Effie, you weren't there, were you, that night?
no, I was there on another night when we had some, and it was pretty fun though. So,
Yeah, but yeah, so that's what I do to keep that from
but
happening. So hey, sorry about that.
they seem
But
to
anyway,
coordinate. It seems
no,
to be a
totally.
group of,
Oh
hey, let's
no, oh
control.
no, no, no,
Mm-hmm.
totally coordinated. The phone calls also
Yeah.
all were coordinated that night. It was like boom, boom, boom,
Mm-hmm.
and then they were on conference calls with each other also. Because when I was talking to one off camera, I mean, where nobody else could hear it, the guy that just called was on the conference line with this girl. The same guy.
Mm.
So they were always totally coordinated. Oh yeah, without a doubt. So, but anyway, I'm
This
sorry.
is
Go
why I
ahead.
have a theory that mental illness can indeed be viral and be caught and spread amongst people. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy, crazies out there, and they seem to spread. Although actually there was a study, a Harvard study. Hi, Arena. I didn't see you there. Hi, Arena. I saw Shonda. Hi, Shonda. Um, I have, yeah, I just recently read. I was reading about that the study and where no, somebody brought it up on one of their YouTube videos. That's right. I'm conflating two different things I was thinking about, but yeah, you can trick people through repetitive um, input into doing bad things. And, basically it's sort of a, a form of group identity brainwashing. So, it's kind of like that. It was a study to figure out how the Nazis got so many seemingly good people to go along um, with
With
their
their plans,
plans.
right? No, I
And
mean just regular folks. Regular folks. Construction workers,
yeah, yeah,
bakers, clerks,
hmm
normal people that you would never think
yeah,
were capable of of doing such heinous things.
Yeah,
And
and
so
they
explain
sort
that.
of they realized.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it was a Harvard study, and they realized that the Nazis, the leadership at the time, they sort of found a way to get into there's a especially for the men, more so for the women. And actually, there was I think it was a study in Tibet that actually kind of
Wait,
researched
hold
the
on,
same
hold on,
thing
hold on.
in
Effie,
psychology.
hold on. Effie. Yeah, you know Arena, right?
Sure, sure.
You know Arena Linsky, the girl in the chat?
Um,
You know Arena, right?
do I know? Oh yeah, I've seen her. I've seen her in the chat. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I'll make this easy for her. Because I'm pretty sure the slow
Okay.
mode, if you're a moderator, slow mode doesn't affect you. So let's see here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I'm pretty sure if you're a moderator, it doesn't affect you on slow mode. So, all right, Rena, I just made
Okay.
you a moderator. So, slow mode shouldn't affect you. You should be able to
Yay!
be just fine.
Thanks,
I don't.
Renee.
I don't know if it does. I don't know if it does or it doesn't. But I'm a moderator on other sites, and when slow mode is on, I can
Uh-huh.
post all the time. So it shouldn't be a problem. You know.
Okay.
But anyway, go
Okay.
ahead. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to
Um,
interrupt again. I'm terrible. I admit it.
escaping me, so I'm sounding kind of airhead right now. But basically, both of the studies, one of them was one I read a long time ago, and one I heard recently, which was a Harvard study, which they just kind of maybe accidentally tapped into a combination of input that creates a way in which people can be manipulated through it becomes by incrementally increasing control, where they don't realize it's the frog in the hot water turning on the heat, and they the frog is eventually, but it doesn't
Wait, what'd you say? You
become.
still there?
It's yes, I'm still here.
Okay.
Let me try this. Can you hear me better? Okay.
Yeah, you were breaking up there
It's
for a
the
second.
frog in. Okay, it's an incremental thing. Our brains apparently have this thing where you can incrementally be controlling someone to the point that they think it's their idea, they think it's their honor that's at stake, they believe they've agreed to certain things, they believe they're fulfilling obligations. You can just keep manipulating incrementally until good people are doing really bad things. And also, what plays into that, particularly for what I was mentioning for the males, is their sense of belonging, uniformity, not standing out, wanting to be part of the team, wanting to go along to get along, wanting to keep everybody, keep the strong unit, the sense of camaraderie. And so for men, they're even more vulnerable to this kind of manipulation, which is why you put a uniform on a man, and you can get him to do things he would never necessarily otherwise do, even positive things. Doesn't necessarily have to be bad things, but to get him to join a team and overcome an obstacle, put a uniform on him and he's got a better chance. It's just something psychological. And so they just, apparently the Nazis were able to, whether they knew what they were doing, or they just so happened to get this combination of behavior, of manipulation, and they were approaching it from not just the sense of logic and emotion, but also they created a religion around their beliefs. So they were approaching people in multiple ways to manipulate them, but they did it incrementally, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. It's like Hitler's writing started out with, he pretended to be a Christian, and then they melted that away and created their own religion. But eventually people found themselves fully immersed and boiling in that pot of water, not realizing that the heat had been turned up a little bit, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, until they were a dead frog floating in a pot of water. So it's pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
But you can do this. Harvard did this to groups of people who are just students or volunteers who are part of a program, to the point that they were able to get people to do horrible things within a pretty short amount of time, just by a series of subtle manipulations, to the point it's like, well, you agreed to do this, are you going to do this or not? Flip the switch. and electrocute your friend. By the end of the study, they were having
Right.
people doing, willing to do horrible things. So, yeah, we are very vulnerable mentally. It's sort of a form of hypnosis. It's sort of a group hypnosis thing. And it's a real phenomenon. So we have to be vigilant. We have to be alert, aware, and not allow ourselves to be taken in. That's why I don't like television, because they don't call it programming for nothing.
Well, yeah, it's funny, even before we had all this TV and media, back in the days of Jefferson, remember he said the biggest danger to a democracy is an uneducated population. That concerned him because he knew the masses could be led
Exactly.
around
Exactly.
by, some guy who's talking a lot of stuff, manipulating people, using newspapers. Because remember back then, politicians used to, they were used to buy newspapers, buy articles, back in those days. And there were newspapers that were favorable to, like, say, the Jeffersonians versus the Madisons, stuff like that. I mean, they didn't even pretend. It wasn't like, oh, wow, I can't believe that newspaper printed that. It's like nobody said that because they knew they were on the payroll for, like, the Democrats or the Federalists or something like that. So yeah, they were just all, you know, they, this has been going on for a long time. So you have to be informed.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know what's going on because right now, if you look at the mainstream media, you take the combination of commercials, news, movies, TV shows, and whatever narrative they want to start spinning out there, they'll start putting them on there. Like they're getting you prepared for when the actual politicians start then saying these things. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, well, that makes sense. You don't even know where it makes sense from because you've just been inundated with it, even just watching a commercial
Sure.
or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Incrementally. Yeah,
Right,
incrementally.
step by step.
Exactly. I don't think it was Jefferson because he was big into education, but one of those guys in that time had a quote that was something that was somewhat the opposite, which is that education, that people who read a lot of news, maybe it was Jefferson, maybe he was distinguishing education from news, but he was saying people who consume a lot of news are less aware than people who do. Who don't,
Well, that's
people who
really no
don't, in
shit.
other words,
Well,
an
yeah, because he knew
anti-propaganda kind of stance.
Well, yeah, because
I
they
thought it
were
was
they
Jefferson.
well back then again, nobody even tried to hide it. This newspaper printed good stories for these politicians, and everybody knew
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah, you're going to get that point of view. It wasn't like New York Times saying, "Oh, we're not biased. We cover stories fairly." Back in those days, they never even said that. So I mean, they just like we're
Yeah,
we're with the Democrats. This is the Democrat newspaper. Read our point of view. I mean, the commentary was the
yeah,
front page. So I mean,
and
remember they just came off the Revolutionary War.
there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the thing is, the fact is, human beings have opinions. And being honest about, we have this opinion, this is who we are, and this is what we believe. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But to pretend that you are unbiased when you are biased is when you have dishonesty. So when you're hiding the fact that you're propagandizing, there's nothing necessarily wrong with propaganda. It's just if you're lying and pretending you're not propagandizing is where I think there's a conflict of, honesty and integrity. The news media for a lot of decades had this veneer of being non-partisan, but they always were. They just hid it better. Now they don't so much hide it anymore. In a way, I think it's better. It's good to know. There are a large segment of people in our nation who don't know that because they're, maybe lazy about it and don't care to know that, or they're just busy with other things in life and they don't want to get into understanding how things really work or what have you. But I think a lot of people are aware. I mean, The average person, I don't know. I think if we were to take a poll, does the average person know that media is biased for one way or another? I think most people will say yes, it is.
Right. And the
So
problem, though, is
to
the
me, that's
problem.
more
Go ahead.
honest and more real than pretending you aren't.
Well, yeah, but here's the
I'm sorry.
problem.
Go ahead.
When people say, okay, they're biased, okay, when you're listening to Don Lemon and he says Trump's a racist and Trump is a racist, period. Well, even if you're a big fan of Don Lemon's and you
Mm-hmm.
listen to him and you follow him, you're going to say, damn, Don, you're kind of going a little above board. You know, I'm not willing to go there with you. Maybe it's a bridge too far. But what people don't realize is that the bias is not just when they say it, because you can catch that unless you're stupid. But the bias is in the selective reporting. What stories are they covering? What stories are they not covering? So you're being inundated with
Oh,
information and being and not given the whole story because you're not getting the other point of view, or you're not even getting a story. Like they'll spend an hour on Mueller, whatever his name is, but they won't cover the economy.
oh yeah, bias
So you
by
don't even know the
omission.
economy.
Bias by
Then
omission.
right. So then when you hear Trump say the
Yeah,
economy's doing
absolutely.
great, you think, well, that's just Trump being Trump. Now, if Lemon said, oh, and by the way, the economy's doing really good, we're going to spend 10 minutes on that, then when Trump says it, it's like, oh, well, Trump's not being crazy. He's telling the truth, you know.
Right. hmm Yeah. But the reality is, it's like you said, it's kind of always been that way. And so, what's the solution? Are we really going to have unbiased reporting as the norm? I don't think so.
Well, you know
So
what's
is it
funny?
better to just know who?
Right,
hmm
know if this is the left, this is the right, this is this. Well, we don't even
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
center anymore. I mean, I don't know.
Or
I
as we were discussing before, having a set of standards that are voluntary by which, these kinds of organizations can choose or not choose to adhere to, where they say, yeah, we agree to this standard. In other words, making sure our sources are verified and not immediately putting out a story for the sake of sensationalism and whatever other series of things we came up with the other day. But but the fact is, people are biased, and the best we can do with that is to say, yeah, I admit it, I'm biased. This is my political belief, and this is why. I mean, is that better, or is it better to have mushroom news where they're keeping us in the dark and feeding us crap? It's a little more honest, I guess.
well,
Yeah, CNN would
okay.
just come out and say, "Yeah, I'm a leftist news organization. It is what it is."
Well, I tell you what, stay on the phone. Let me cover this CNN Don Lemon about the New York Times real quick. So don't go nowhere. I'll read real quick. There we go. All right. There we go. Boom. Okay, CNN's Lemon sours on New York Times for directing reporters to avoid highly partisan cable shows. Okay. So CNN's Don Lemon blasted the New York Times this week for the quote unquote short-sighted stance that its reporters should avoid appearances on highly partisan cable news shows. The man who once said he has an obligation to call President Trump a racist, or at the very least, racist adjacent, that's a new phrase, lamented reports that Times executive editor Dean Baquet wants a clearer line of separation between straight news reporting and partisan punditry. According to, this is Baquet speaking, we have always had a rule saying reporters should be wary of going on very clearly opinionated shows, told the Daily Beast on Friday. It's the most sharply opinionated shows that give me pause. I'm not sure which shows we will avoid. The editor's comments came in response to a piece by Vanity Fair, which claimed reporters are discouraged from appearing on MSNBC's The Rachel Maddow Show and The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell. Those are the two words by far, along with CNN Tonight with Don Lemon. They actually mentioned the show. And then Don Lemon says, I do not get the sense that they are banning reporters from my show, but I don't work for the Times, so I can't be sure. Lemon told the Daily Beast. It would be extremely short-sighted if they are when journalism is under attack. We should support each other, period. Well, yeah, that's
I'm
funny.
sorry, but
Yeah,
he's not a journalist.
I know.
He's
He's
not in
not.
any kind of sense a journalist. He's running for the journalism cover. Oh God, that's so
No, I
bad.
agree. I
Uh,
agree. No, he's saying journalism. Well, first of all, journalism isn't under attack. We all like journalism. Who
No, it's
doesn't?
not.
No,
No,
no. Now maybe
exactly, and that's what I was just thinking that today. You are so exactly you and me. We're right here on the same level, right? Right. You can't see what I'm doing with my hands. I'm doing the pointy fingers thing. We
gotcha.
are in the same page on this because I was saying that today. The president should come back instead of just saying there's the fake news. He should say there's the partisan hack news.
Right.
Say that. Say what it is. Because they keep diving for the cover of we're journalists and you're attacking the press, which he's not. He's attacking partisan hackery, disguising itself as journalism.
Yeah.
So,
No, there's nothing journalistic about Lemon giving an opinion. I mean, that's a commentary.
no,
But they treat his
not
show.
exactly.
But they don't call Lemon Show or Anderson Cooper's show commentary. It's like Sean and Tucker say, "Hey, look, I'm a commentator. I don't even. I'm not doing a real. This isn't just
delusional.
news. Yeah. If you want to
Yeah,
watch news, if you
he's
want to watch just a straight
delusional
news show.
to call himself a journalist. He's being delusional and calling himself a journalist so he can dive for that cover and pretend, oh, I have special. First of all, he doesn't have any. A journalist doesn't have any more First Amendment protection than anybody else. The fact is, the free press doesn't mean corporate controlled media. Corporate or in other words, it's not a special thing that we're the press and you're not. Everybody
Right.
can be the free press.
Right.
It's
Totally agree.
they've created a religion, an elite class where they are, and then in their dogma, they are the bishops of this class, of this religion, and they get to pronounce upon themselves this special privilege of being the journalists. And oh my goodness, don't say anything bad. Like
Right.
in the Bible, touch not God's anointed. They've anointed themselves the holy journalists that you are not permitted to ever critique, or else you have attacked the Constitution, which they
Right.
give no crap about the Constitution by their own actions. But let's not go there right now. Point
Right.
being, oh my God, my Kentucky's coming out. But
That's okay.
the
Wait,
point being,
did you hear me earlier? I got mad.
No. Oh, yes, I did. I was impressed. Yes, I was like, oh, Carl's giving his opinion, everybody. Stand back. Here we go.
No, I just got
Here's
pissed.
in New York.
So I
How you
understand
doing?
where you're coming from. I mean, yeah, on this as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, but all right.
Yeah,
for them to say
oh,
that.
my God, this religion of, where's the journalist? Frick you. You're no more holy than the minister that's banging the church choir director and calling yourself, oh, don't touch a man of God. You're not a man of God, and you're not a journalist. So, okay, sorry, rant over. I apologize.
Right. No, it's true, right? Because they try to hide behind that when he knows he's totally partisan. He knows it. I mean, just come out and say
Yes.
it. I mean, look, Anderson
Yes.
says it, Sean says it, Laura says it. Now, if you want to watch news on Fox, and you don't get this on CNN, you can watch Shannon Bream, you can watch The Story, Martha McCallum, you can watch Brent Baer's show, you can watch Neil Cavuto's show. Shepard Smith is biased. He just is the other way. Should be on CNN. But still, you got like 3 or 4 good hours in prime time on Fox that are just straight news and with balanced panels, balanced interviews.
Yeah,
I
isn't
mean,
Shep Smith a dedicated never Trumper, if I'm not
definitely.
mistaken?
Yeah, Cavuto is kind of too, but
Yeah.
Cavuto's got half a brain. Let's put it that way. So I watched him the other day, in fact, talking about even when he was talking about the tariffs. He seemed to have a pretty fair, balanced approach on it. And then it was funny this morning on MSNBC, that one lady who does it's the morning for me on the West Coast. She does a Saturday morning, Sunday morning shows. Big girl, tall, blonde, probably about 40, I guess. And she had this one guy on from Reuters. And so she was trying to play the narrative about this tariffs on Mexico, saying, "Well, do you think this is just the Trump trying to use this as a distraction away from the Mueller report?" This guy started laugh from Reuters, a liberal, but he's like, nah, Trump has been on this immigration thing since when he came down the elevator. I mean, no, he's really into this whole immigration thing. He's not using this as a distraction. He's really serious about this. And
Yeah.
it just goes to show you,
Yeah.
here's the press on one hand every day saying, oh, he calls them rapists and murderers. He's bashing the Mexicans. He's terrible on this, terrible on this. And then when he poses, a tariff, they say, oh, that's just a distraction. No. Well, just stay with your narrative. He's really crazy on immigration. You can just keep that story, and
Yeah.
it goes right along with the tariffs. But no, they got to say, oh, he's not doing it. He's not even doing it for the crazy reason. He's doing it for a different crazy reason. I mean, it's. But the guy from Reuters, I doubt, he'll get invited back again because he gave a pretty fair, reasonable answer. Like,
Yeah.
So.
Well, but there you go. The fact is, I'm sorry for the noise. My cat is begging for clean water, and I had to wash his bowl, and it's a whole sad story we won't get into. Anyway.
Oh, well, do you want to go give her some
there
water?
You go. Oh, no, I just was making noise because I had to wash his bowl because his bowl was nasty. He wanted fresh water because he's a king. He's royalty, and I have to do his bidding.
Well, of course.
So that was all.
It's a cat. What do you expect? So wait, hold it. Hold it. Do you have like 40 cats in your house? Are you one of those cat ladies?
No, I have one.
Wait.
Cat,
There's a lot of hesitation. Toes. A lot of hesitation in that answer. It's like, well, no.
No. No, I said no. I said no. No, I have a cat. I didn't
we
even
have this on tape.
intentionally.
This is on YouTube.
I told
we
you
can back
story.
this up and play it back.
Oh, okay. We can play it back, but I'm
only
pretty
kidding.
Sure
I could,
anyway,
but I'm not going to.
He. I'm not, hey, I don't have anything against people loving animals, but, no, it's just not for me to have that many animals. I don't have time for that. I didn't actually want a cat. I remember my roommate brought him, and then she left, and now I have a cat. So that was how I ended up with His Royal Highness Prince Fuzzybutt here.
Gotcha.
But she said, well, he loves you. I'm like, okay, I guess. Argument over.
Right.
I don't remember getting a choice in any of it, but yeah. So now I have a cat. So, but he's got 26 toes, so he's kind of like almost more than one cat. So I've got a cat lady starter pack anyway.
Yes.
So,
how many toes?
Yep. He has 20. 2 extras in the front, 2 extras in the back. 28.
Well, how many toes are they supposed to have?
20.
Oh, you get 26.
Yeah.
Like a mutant cat or something?
Yeah, he's a polydactyl. It's a pretty relatively common, not like common like in the sense of over 50%, but it happens a lot with cats.
Oh.
Polydactylism.
Okay. So maybe like he was, drank some water from like a nuclear power plant or something,
No, we have a lot of them in Florida because of that writer that lived down in Key West. What's his name? The Old Man in the Sea. What's his name?
Oh,
Hemingway.
Who? Steinbeck?
Wrong writer. Hemingway. Yeah. He his house is down in the Keys, and he bred polydactyl cats.
Why would he do that?
And
did he just like doing that?
I don't know, but they're still there. You can go visit Hemingway. I was actually in Hemingway's house like 2 months ago, and it's really beautiful, little Key West house, and no air conditioning, but Key West houses are made so that you don't need air conditioning. It's amazing. They have perfect breezeways.
Yeah.
Yeah. With these louvered tilt out shade things where it lets air in but keeps the sun out at the same time, so you get all this lovely breeze.
Yeah.
Well, they're amazing. Yeah. So
cool.
anyway, so it's a retreat. It's a museum, so you can walk through and see his house. but it's also a retreat for the descendants of his cats. So there's just all these cats everywhere with their little houses and their little things and signs that say "Don't touch the cats" because it's their house.
So
So
they just live there. I
we
mean,
have
nobody
them
lives
in
there with them.
Florida.
People just show up and feed them or
Well,
something.
no,
Or?
there's keepers. It's a museum now, so
Oh, okay.
they have keepers. So
Okay.
yeah, it's lovely. It's a garden and walkway. You can walk the grounds. It's nice.
Right.
But the cats are there, and they're used to the people walking through their house and their yard, and they just kind of ignore you, and you ignore them, and everything's good.
Oh, hey, why I got you on the
So, but
phone?
they're cute.
Let me ask you this: whatever happened to Mayor Andrew Gilliam? I mean, I remember he was getting ready to be under indictment or something.
I
Has there
don't
been in the news
know.
about
He
him?
was under indictment. The last I heard about that indictment is that I think it fell through, lack of evidence. I think it's a vague memory because I remember thinking when he was running, I think they threw the case out because when he was running, it was a big talking point of plus he's under indictment because he's
So what?
shady,
You think it was like a deal?
But
They said, okay, look, don't challenge the election, and you walk on this deal, something like that.
I don't know. Maybe could be. But
I mean, that
I
sounds
don't think
fair.
they. I think they dropped.
I mean, that sounds fair. I mean,
I think
like,
they
yeah,
dropped
okay,
the case.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
why not?
I could look it up real quick, but I think they did drop the case. But I just kind of put that guy out of my head because he's such a twerp, He's like one of those people you don't want to remember. He's just an awful person.
Well, I mean, has he been out in public or
So I'm
anything?
so
I'm
glad
just
we don't
curious,
have that.
like, because they seem to think he had a future in the Democratic Party. I mean, even Trump mentioned him, but that could have been part of the deal as far as him, like, not challenging the election, saying, hey, this guy's got a future, But I haven't heard anything about him
Really?
since. No, remember Trump said that after the election? He said, he goes, hey,
Yeah,
this
I don't
guy,
remember that.
he was kind of from the approach like he was admiring his political skills and kind of like himself. Like, hey, this guy, this guy's got a future, So like kind of admiring how he ran the race and how he really went gung-ho and strong and big and everything. And he was admiring how he put all that together. And he said that. But again, that could have been part of the deal with him, like giving him a nice way out, showing him the door, but saying something nice about him,
Yeah, he's a terrible guy because every time I saw a story about him in the last couple of years, it was something else. He was threatening to people. He'd always threaten legal action. He was he was in bed with like a couple of those leftist groups that always threaten people, like the People for the American Way and the other one, Southern Poverty Law Center. He was always using those groups to threaten people. He's just a terrible person.
Well, I mean,
So I don't know why
he's been
Trump
really
would say something
quiet.
nice.
I mean, he hasn't made the national news. I was just curious if he was making any Florida news. Nothing in the
Let me
papers about
see
him.
here. Here's something from March.
Yeah, what do you got?
Of this year. It says former Tallahassee Mayor Andrew Gillum is set to make a major announcement on March 20th, according to a website patterned after his gubernatorial campaign slogan, "Bring it home." What a jerk. A video posted to his Twitter account includes clips from his run for governor, ends with chants of "Bring it home," which became his rallying cry. The video is paid for Forward Florida. Ugh. Gilliam's statewide political action committee remains unclear what the former Democratic candidate and CNN political pundit has planned following the Miami announcement. Gilliam fell, blah, 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 Governor DeSantis, etc. Since then, his name has been bandied about as the Democratic presidential field swell. So, God. But Gillum said he wants to focus on energizing Democratic voters and reversing Republican gains in Florida. I can see the best and highest contribution that I can make at this time is in taking what we've built over the course of 2017 and 2018 and putting that to use and building something more longer term term. That's not good English. In this, I mess up my English too, though. In the state of Florida, Gillum told Politico. So it sounds like he wants to be a behind-the-scenes kind of guy.
Well, it sounds like
A hearing looking into ethics commission's findings. Gillum accepted illegal gifts, included a ticket to Hamilton during his trips to New York City and Costa Rica, is scheduled for roughly a month after the announcement. April 24th hearing was pushed back.
Well, that'll go away. That'll go away. That's probably part of the deal. That'll just quietly go away.
I seem to remember reading that did pop up, and I think that they did kind of let it go. But either that or it got reduced down to almost nothing.
Yeah, no. He lost. Okay, he didn't challenge it. He wasn't like that idiot Abrams in Georgia. He bowed out. He conceded and shook hands. Literally, I think shook hands with DeSantis. And Trump said something nice about him.
And he joined. Yes, he joined CNN as a commentator, so that's what he's doing. So basically, he wants to be like another Al Sharpton, I guess. Call everybody a racist who disagrees
probably
with him.
He's like this organization he formed. Well, obviously there's a salary and a paycheck. So, and he has a staff. He keeps the staff in place. He gets money, gets a paycheck, goes on CNN once in a while, stays relevant, and then probably makes a run for something. 2022.
Maybe, maybe. Maybe, but he maybe sees where the money is. Hey, CNN offered him a paycheck, so there you go. But that's what it always was about for him. And
now
he can have the freedom to run around with his political pals without getting.
Yeah,
you think?
I think he wanted to be president.
I think he just liked partying.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well.
He was a jet. He liked to go. He hang out on yachts and go to cities and eat at fancy restaurants and wear nice suits. I don't think he was as much into the politics as he was into the lifestyle. That he was getting from being on the left. Oh,
okay. Yeah, I didn't follow that race that close. So, but okay. I mean, I'll definitely take your opinion on it. You're right there. So, but
well, that's my impression of him. It's that he wants to be in the spotlight and he wants money. I just see him as, if he can accomplish that with CNN, and consider, and then, he's like, he's saying, I think we need to focus on building what we've built here. It sounds to me like maybe he wants to have some kind of political action committee,
right?
Continue behind the scenes political stuff, to basically be a political godfather, and then also take a paycheck from CNN, and then probably do speaking engagements, and then just have all these rich people kissing his ring so he can continue to go on yachts and nice restaurants and wear nice suits.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. He wants to be Sharpton, Jackson, have them come and eat waffles and chicken with him when they're running for president and stuff. That's funny. That's who he is.
Yeah, see, I always just thought the guy was just wanting, to really. Well, you know what? Maybe if he had won that governorship, maybe that's the track he would have been heading on.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But losing
because he's an opportunist. So either way, whatever would have worked out best for him would have been what he wanted to do. So that's
it's like Beto O'Rourke. And Beto is funny. He was going to run no matter what, whether he won or lost, obviously, because he's running. But I mean, he's like nowhere now. Then he got that new haircut to look more distinguished and more, mature. Trying to get the older voters.
Butthead O'Rourke.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh my gosh, he can't do anything to look less goofy. That man is a goofy-looking individual. Poor fella.
Yeah.
I feel bad about it, but.
I don't feel bad because the guy's a big phony.
He's a human cartoon character. I cannot take him seriously, and I don't see how anyone else could.
No. I mean, the only reason why he had a shot, because he had all that money from, like, L.A. in the Democratic National Senate Committee. They poured a ton of money into Texas, which is funny because...
actors and those pea brains wanting to prop him up. Oh, my gosh.
Well, it's funny.
I ranted for an hour today on those Hollywood people talking too much politically. Go ahead, Sar. Go
Well,
ahead.
no, oh, really? You were just out there ranting?
I was ranting to my friend today and my cat because he's got to pay attention to everything I say. That's part of our contract.
Yeah.
But I was ranting today because of something that happened. But I just was like, I'm absolutely fed up. But it just got to the point where I was thinking, there was a time, and this is not an original thought. Other people, so I'm not taking credit for this, but other people have said this. But there was a time when in America, everybody would go see a movie like Star Wars. And then people in America would all enjoy Star Wars. And then the next day, people would talk about Star Wars. We talk about what was your favorite scene and how did you like those special effects? And, oh, wasn't that a scary whatever? And it wasn't political, and the actors didn't get out and say political crap. And everybody had a joint, shared, communal experience in this country of enjoying a movie. But now the left has ruined that. And every movie lately, it's not just, it was Disney. Disney got me started. It was Disney doing all their nonsense. The owner of Disney is just making a strong pro-baby murder stance. And that's not
with the movies in Georgia? Not doing movies in Georgia?
Yeah. Right,
yeah.
Right. That's not the only thing Disney's done, but that's the latest in their series of egregious behavior. And I'm like, I don't mind human beings having opinions that are different from mine. I think they're wrong, but they're okay to have those, for America, we can deal with it. But the movie industry and every kind of entertainment, the point of entertainment is that we can be entertained and have something that we can collectively share away from politics and all that nonsense.
Right.
And
sports.
Make it
like
a
sports.
human experience.
Right.
Like sports, exactly.
Yeah, it's like that whole kneeling down thing. I mean, all I did was just make people feel uncomfortable in the stands, and then you made people feel divided on the issue. I mean, these are people. I mean, they ruined Sunday morning. I mean, I haven't stopped watching the damn games. And I've been watching football since I was 7. And even I couldn't watch it anymore. Because I'm like, no, I'm not going to watch it, and give these stupid superstars all this money till they can, disrespect my flag and make me feel uncomfortable about watching them play. So I stopped watching it, 2 years ago. Yeah. I haven't watched a full game in over 2 years.
Yeah.
I just said, screw it.
It's
Bye.
sad.
Yeah, it is sad. I used to watch it all the time.
My father was in a minor league team before I was old enough to know anything about anything. But my family was a big sports family. My mom, she kind of lived football during football season. She would call me and tell me what we were winning and what we were losing, and I would say, "Who's we, Mom? What's happening?"
Right.
She was just football, and all of that is gone. It's just gone. My brother and his college teams are the only thing that's left as far as a semblance of sports fans in our family. And even the college teams can get infiltrated sometimes because, colleges are down now.
Right.
But the point being, we used to have active American pastimes and entertainment and things that we could just say, that's part of our culture.
Right.
And it's been infiltrated and eroded and diminished.
No, they want to beat us up every chance they get.
Us.
You can't watch the Academy Awards anymore. You can't watch the Grammys or the Emmys. You can't watch these shows, because you're going to get beat up. And it's like, again, 63 million people voted for Donald Trump. 63 million. So every time they go out there and say something, really mean, it's like, hey, why are you picking on me? Sorry, we have a different point of view.
Yeah.
What's your problem? Everywhere you go, movies, sports, anything. It's like.
But in the meantime, a lot of these industries are bleeding money. Most movies do not make money or do not do well, and sports are losing money, and
Right.
basically get woke go broke is happening all over the place.
Well, the NFL
So
made a deal on that. They figured, well, we're going into Europe now. I think they're going into Asia also. So they're like, well,
mhm,
we don't care. You know, really
mhm,
sad.
mhm.
But meanwhile, I mean,
It
I used
is
to have
sad.
the Direct TV package. The whole 10 yards. I gave that up. You know,
Mhm.
I was one of those people that canceled it,
Yeah,
like a whole bunch of other people did.
I
And
canceled. I canceled Netflix, and I wrote on my reason for canceling. I can't remember the CEO's name, but I wrote his name. I wrote one line that guy's name is pro baby murder. That's what I put in my reason for canceling, because the
yeah,
automatic, the multiple choice reasons for canceling did not include pro baby murder. So I had to write it myself.
you got to write it in. Pro baby murder. Oh,
So
here.
I
Tell you what.
did.
Tell you what. Stay on the phone because that great segue. Great. Did I give you a script? That's perfect. Goes right to my next story. So here we go. Stay on the phone. All right. State Democrats defy party with pro-life votes, opposition to late-term abortion bills. All right. It's by Valerie Richardson of the Washington Times, May 30th. They defeated bills expanding abortion rights in New Mexico and Rhode Island, backed tough restrictions on abortion access, and voted to pass infanticide bills in Montana and North Carolina, and they're not Republicans. And one of the biggest surprises of the 2019 legislative session, dozens, excuse me, dozens of Democratic state legislators have defied their party on abortion, emerging as a decisive force on pivotal votes in what may signal a fraying of the Democratic consensus on a signature issue. Perhaps the biggest moment came when Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards, a Democrat, announced Wednesday that he would sign a fetal heartbeat bill after it passed the House by a vote of 79 to 23. He wasn't alone. The bill received 17 Democratic votes in the House and 7 in the Senate. He went on to say, this one senator, I am proud to stand with the people of Louisiana in defense of the unborn and against the abortion mills that are waging war on the next generation, said Democratic State Senator John Milkovich, who sponsored SB 184. Democrat actually sponsored the bill. The announcement capped what has been a disastrous legislative session for the pro-choice movement, which began with high hopes of erecting a bulwark against the Supreme Court's 5-4 conservative majority and wound up deluged by pro-life legislation. Some of it passed with Democratic support. Not even the most optimistic pro-lifers expect the Democratic Party to start holding protests outside Planned Parenthood anytime soon, but the session does show that there may be more wiggle room than previously believed within the stoutly pro-choice party. One reason, the abortion rights movement led by Planned Parenthood and NARAL, Pro-Choice America, clearly overestimated how far some liberal lawmakers were willing to go to codify Roe. In Rhode Island and New Mexico, Democratic legislators killed measures billed as enshrining the Supreme Court's 1973 Roe versus Wade decision into law, arguing that the bills overreached by removing widely accepted safeguards and clearing the way for abortion until birth. This is one of the state senators. I cannot support post-viability abortions that are based on undefined quote-unquote health reasons and would permit very late-term, up-to-date birth abortions. It simply goes too far, said Rhode Island State Senator Stephen Archibald, one of 4 Democrats who defeated a no-limits abortion bill earlier this month. Kristen Day, executive director of Democrats for Life of America, said such legislation was viewed as too extreme. It's not codify Roe, it's going further than Roe. But Democratic opposition to late-term and no-limit bills tells only half the story. In red states like Georgia and Kentucky, some Democrats joined Republicans to pass fetal heartbeat bills and other abortion restrictions aimed at challenging Roe. In every single state that has passed a fetal heartbeat bill, they've done it with Democratic support, said Ms. Day, who said her organization has seen an uptick in fundraising and membership. She says it's very encouraging. Democrats also broke ranks to support infanticide bills in Montana and North Carolina, both of which were vetoed by Democratic governors. In North Carolina, Democratic State Senator Don Davis joined Republicans to cast a decisive vote in April to override Governor Roy Cooper's veto. While Republicans have their own abortion renegades, they failed for the most part to play a prominent role in this year's legislative session, which saw a dozen red states pass tough restrictions. There you go. So, what do you
Yeah.
think about that?
I think it's amazing that a Democrat is talking actual scientific common sense and logic. That
Yeah.
the fact is viability is what it is, and a lot of over the years, their line keeps changing, their standards keep changing as far as safe, legal, rare, just safe and legal, just legal, uh, you know, oh, only first trimester. Oh, now it's just up to the second trimester. Well, now we can kill babies that are alive, born alive on the table because it's up to the mother whether it's a human being or not, I guess. They keep changing their standards. Well, you don't get to do that. And the fact is, science since 1973 has greatly advanced on our understanding of what viability and our ability to support the viability of a baby outside the womb. So viability is much younger than it used to be. I mean, we can now, babies that are under 7 months gestation are born, and that's not even as big of a deal as it used to be. I mean, people can have preemies now, like all the time. There are fetuses that are born at 22 weeks and survive today. 22 weeks.
That's crazy.
But even beyond viability, we have much more scientific understanding of what's actually going on inside the womb at much earlier ages. And you stop a beating human heart, you're killing a human being. I argue you're killing a human being at conception because distinct DNA is a distinct human. But if you're going to go for viability, there's a beating heart. That's a human heart. It's not a rat heart. It's not a hamster heart. It's a human heart. Some of these ghouls that are murdering babies.
I mean, viability is different than the heartbeat, but
yes, that's what I was saying. I was talking about viability first, but then I went back even beyond viability, just the concept of what is going on inside the womb, as far as our humanity. And our humanity and the heartbeat bill has to do with stopping the human heart. Now, that first trimester fetus is not able. A fetus is not a distinct thing from a baby. That's the other thing. They use rhetoric. They use words like fetus. Fetus is just a medical term for early stage of human. A fetus is a baby. An infant is a baby. A toddler is a baby. It's all the same baby, It's just a different stage of development. So to try to distinguish the word fetus as if it means something other than a baby, it's still baby murder. It's the baby with a heartbeat and you're killing it. That's all there is to it. It's science. And, so yes, I'm very dramatically impressed that a Democratic governor or senator or congressperson, state or federal congressperson, would have, some actual courage of convictions when they say they believe in science to finally stand up and say, it's a human.
Yeah.
And
now, I'm not right. I'm not expecting a lot of Democrats to go down the road of, say, the heartbeat law. But, I think when they passed that law in New York, and they were all cheering and clapping and standing up and, yay, we did it. I think that made a lot of people take a look back like, whoa, what are you cheering about? It's like you said, we used to always say that on the left is like, no, we just want abortion to be safe, legal, and rare. Like, okay, that even sounds reasonable. But then you go from that in the 80s to today, and there's Cuomo and all the Democrats and all the people in the galley all jumping up and down and yelling and screaming like, their team just scored a touchdown. And you're still talking about a baby. Then that Virginia governor, saying, well, we'll just let it die, and that kind of crap. So, I mean, And I think that Rhode Island state senator, Rhode Island, very liberal, and he's a Democrat in Rhode Island, and he's like, you know what,
Yeah.
you know, when the baby's viable, no, that means we could take it out right now and put it on the a table, put it in the incubator, and it's going to live. So instead of killing
Yeah.
it, why the same? We're going to go through this procedure. Instead of killing it, why don't you just take it out of there? you know, what's wrong with that? And if you don't want it, okay, well, try to get an adoptive parent or something like that. But at least give the child a chance. I mean, there are a lot of great people who started out as orphans in this country, or started out being adopted, or whatever, or single parent households. I mean, that happens all the time. You get raised by daycare or something, and they're going to do great things. I mean, and even if they don't do great things per se, I mean, they all have that spark of life. They all have the grace of God. They can choose to ignore it, and then they generally end up in court with me, at the council table, or they can choose to embrace it. But just because you're born in a bad situation doesn't necessarily mean you're going to end up bad, So.
And I'm not invoking Godwin's law here, because we were talking about Nazis earlier in the conversation, so I'm just bringing it back around to that discussion. Mm-hmm. So I just want to be clear, not invoking Godwin's law. But
Godwin?
what I'm saying, saying is...
Godwin?
Godwin.
Is that a way to describe,
Godwin, It's saying that basically whoever brings up a comparison to Hitler or the Nazis in an online argument automatically loses or something like that.
Oh,
Godwin's
okay.
law.
All right, gotcha.
It's sort of like as the discussion grows longer and more heated, the probability of comparing something to the Nazis or Hitler approaches base
it
one.
Gets closer and closer. Right, gotcha.
Yes,
no,
correct.
Go for it though.
So,
go for it.
Yeah. But I just want to be clear, I'm not invoking Godwin's law because we've already talked about Nazis. I'm actually going full circle back to what we were talking about,
Right.
which is incremental evil. And Planned Parenthood, even though they did start out with, let's face it, a eugenicist who was a Nazi, but let's pretend that didn't happen and just go from the recent history.
Mm-hmm.
In recent history, they have incrementally, not just Planned Parenthood, but the abortion rights people have incrementally, as we were saying, they have increased the level of what is acceptable behavior, or dramatically made it more disgusting, I guess, in the sense of, it can't feel pain. Oh, who cares if it can feel pain? And oh, it's not viable, so it doesn't matter. It never. Oh, now it's viable, but we still want to kill it. Oh, but we're only going to kill it because it's still attached to the mother. Oh, it's not attached to the mother, but we're still going to kill it. So it's just incremental. It just gets worse and worse and worse.
Right, and now it's on a table. But the mother can see it.
Babies.
Right. It's like the next thing is,
yes.
Well, it's on the table though. Well, and we already cut the umbilical cord. Yeah, but the mother can still see the fetus. Can't call it a child. Somebody goes to prison at that point. So the mother can still see it. So it still belongs to her. It's her property. It's like we're going back to the slavery arguments. It's like property. It's not a child. It's attached to you, so now it's like your property. It's like I mean it's funny. It's the Democrats, and so the Democrats have the same story with slavery. It's like, well, they weren't people; they were property, because they belonged to you. So the same thing, like I can kill it because it's not a person; it belongs to me because it's inside of me. Because it's inside of me, it's my property. Hence, it's inside my body. It's my body. I can choose to kill it. Kind of like that Leonardo DiCaprio scene with in the movie Django. You saw Django, right?
No, I wouldn't. I would not see that.
Anyway, good movie. No. Watch the movie. I know. Just okay. But anyway. So he's like, hey, these slaves, didn't even call them people. These slaves are my property. I can do anything I want with them. And that's the abortion argument. It's like, no, this fetus, again, they won't call it a baby. but it's a baby. This baby's inside of me. Well, actually, now they probably do call it a baby. They're so brazen they don't care. This baby's inside of me, so I
Yeah,
can kill it.
incrementally, just like the
I can
Nazis,
kill it.
incrementally getting
Right.
people to be evil.
Right.
hmm
So
hmm
it's same argument with slavery. It's my property. I can kill it. Baby inside of
Yep.
me, my property. I can kill it. And some of these
But
people are.
the last I heard, child abuse was still illegal, so I don't see
It
how it's
is.
illegal.
I defend
Now it's
people on
just
that all the
okay. It's a
time.
baby. It's my property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I defend that all the time. In fact, if you use meth and give birth to a baby that's a meth freak,
Uh-huh.
DCFS gets involved.
Yeah.
It's an automatic phone call from the hospital to DCFS. I've done plenty of those cases. So if the baby is
Absolutely.
born with drugs in his system, DCFS shows up and they're taking that kid. Bye.
Abortion is incongruent with all kinds of laws. It's incongruent with murder laws. It's incongruent with the child abuse laws. It's incongruent with custodial laws. It's incongruent with the freaking Constitution right to life. It's incongruent all over the place with our laws. We are so schizophrenic when it comes to abortion in this nation.
Right.
Sorry, I went on another rant.
No. Totally agree. Totally agree with you.
It makes me crazy. It makes me absolutely crazy, and it's incongruent with science. Science is already, we've had several decades of updates. We can see what's in there now.
Right.
It's a baby. It's not a clump of cells.
No.
Not a cyst.
Right.
It's not a tumor. It's a tumor. Isn't that Arnold Schwarzenegger? Anyway.
Right.
It's not a tumor. It's not a clump of cells. It can feel pain at 18 weeks. It tries to get away from the abortion instruments. It's a baby. We know it's a baby. We know it's murder. It's science. It's not.
Right.
It's not religion. It's science.
Like the story I told the other night.
It's religion too, but that's not even the issue.
No, like the story I told the other night. Because I think, God, who said it? I think it was one of the governors or some idiot saying that, well, if the child, they said, well, what if the child's mom's getting ready to give birth? And say, well, that's a decision the mom and the family will make. Well, no, it's not the family. I mean, you could be driving under some of these laws.
Yeah, that was a lie.
Yeah, under some of these laws,
That's
you could be driving
propaganda.
your wife to the hospital. Yeah, you can be driving your wife to the hospital. She's in labor. And the baby's kicking and trying to get out, and then you get to the hospital, and mom says, "No, I want an abortion," and dad's like, "No, I mean, it's right there. It's kicking. I mean, you can feel it inside you. It's trying to get out. Let it out. Just let it out." No, I want to kill it. I want to abort it, and dad has no say.
Honest to goodness, Carl, and I've said this before, but honest to goodness, I would be willing to give up my vote in order to take back the rights of women to vote until they can straighten up and act right. Damn it. The only reason I would, because it's for the greater good. I would be willing to do stuff for the greater good. I'm a big person like that, So
yeah. Well, good.
But
it's excellent.
yeah, hell. But that ain't gonna happen. But I do have some, I mean, there is some hope. I mean, aside from what you just read about some Democrats actually, knowing how to science. Wow.
Right.
But also there were apparently more women who voted for the president who were, I think, I can't remember, we went over this before, statistics. I was looking at the breakdown of the actual voters, and more women voted Republican, or maybe it was the 2016 midterm election. But anyway, more women voted Republican who were people who had not completed a college degree, I believe it was, than men.
Oh, okay, right.
Or maybe it was the college degree. It was a college degree because the college-educated men, I remember, they weren't doing so well.
Well,
but either way,
I know we got
one class,
50,
one breakdown.
He got 54% of white women, regardless of education status, right across the board. So included in that
had to be a lot of breakdown that had to do with college, but I just don't remember what it was.
Right. So a lot of that had to be non-college educated, women. So.
Sure. Yeah, it's not really that big of a deal nowadays. And having a college degree is not certainly a sign of intellect or that you're going to be successful in society nowadays.
Right.
But
Yeah, so hopefully,
yeah,
the
it's different.
Democrats overreached on this abortion thing because, if again, it's one of those things. It's like they live in this bubble, and everybody around them says, "Yeah, abortion while it's in the birth canal," and everybody looks around the room and they'll say, "Yeah, good idea," and so they try to pass these laws, and then there's people in the other room saying, "Wait, that's a little crazy. The child's viable. Again, it's not heartbeat, but it's viable." And the
Yeah.
Democrats are like, the child's viable. We could take the child out right now. We do a C-section right now, and the child's going to live. And so, no,
Hmm.
we're not going to just kill this child. Or the child's in the birth canal. No. Well, the child comes out on the table. It's like, no. So there's like people like we're using common sense, and that's good. So
Yeah.
hopefully,
Absolutely.
hopefully we see more of that.
Well,
Again,
I mean,
it's a way
I hope
overreach.
so. I hope that the collective, heart hasn't been hardened of enough humans in this country that it's really okay to murder, you know, all of these children on the altar of convenience. I hope so, because where how do you come back as a society from that? If I don't recall which philosopher said, but a society is judged on how it treats the weakest members, and a society that's willing to allow baby murder is completely lost, in my opinion. There's no coming back from that. So who the heck cares about the border at that point? Let the barbarians be at the gate, because that's that's the ultimate of depravity, in my opinion.
No, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Anyway.
But it's a crazy system we have in this country. It's the craziest and the best at the same time. And it's one of those things where you just sometimes you have to let a shoe drop, like the Democrats overreaching in New York, in Virginia, passing these crazy abortion laws. Because like a lot of us get mad. It's like, well, damn, how come we can't get this to the Supreme Court fast enough? We can't get this done fast enough. But it takes a few years for things to kind of work their way in our system. And again, the framers wanted it that way. They wanted the things to take a long time. But when it does get done, it seems like it generally gets done in the right way. Takes a while, but it generally comes around to like, yeah, that what the hell what were we thinking about? What was that about? You know, let's fix that. You know, it's like 5 years from now. If Trump keeps going on this immigration issue, and he fixes it, and we're down to maybe 100 a day, 200 a day, 500 a day illegal crossings, whatever. Not 4,500 a day. And then everybody's going to look around and go, oh, this is much better. What the hell were we thinking about? you know.
Well, yeah. In the meantime, we have quite a backlog already. So
Oh, huge.
yeah, even
Huge.
even 500 a day is a lot, considering we're already bursting at the seams here.
Well, yeah.
So
I know.
I
I mean, I'm
hope
trying to
I
be
hope we do get
somewhat
it down to a
realistic.
trickle.
Yeah, we get down to a trickle.
Yes,
But
I
I mean,
know you were trying to show some restraint there.
right.
Um,
Okay, zero.
Uh,
About wait, negative
Can
100.
we
The
can
negative
we improve
2,000.
our drones? Improve our drones so they can sort of net carry one individual at a time right back to where they started. Not too far, just enough that they go right back where they started. Just kind of
Well,
have this
the,
conveyor
the
belt
trick the
of
trick is
people cross the border, and then we send them back
well the trick is
with a drone.
yeah. Well, I know. Like Amazon delivering your stuff to your house. Like
Exactly.
drop
We
you
just
off.
send
Right.
them back. They can
Right.
keep crossing the border all they want, but they're just going to end up with another drone ride. And maybe it's fun. It'll be Disney World for border crossers.
Then you get what's his name? Iger. What's the guy who runs Disney? Damn it, Iger, isn't it?
Um,
Whatever his name is.
Ivor,
You get him.
something like
Instead
that.
of making movies in Georgia, he can like make movies about
Yeah.
the drones carrying people across, or a
Yeah.
ride. Put a ride right on the border. The Flume ride into the Rio Grande. Except the Flume just keeps going. It just never, it
Or
doesn't come back
we
around.
could do a personal. We could do carrier. Those big personnel carrier helicopters. Slap parachutes on them. I mean, we drop supplies into North Korea and places like that with parachutes out, so they can be the sort of parachutes where they don't know how to operate them. They just deploy automatically. Just
No,
parachute them
no.
back.
Okay, that's it. That's it. Stop. I'm cutting you off. Nope, that's a bridge too far. No, stop it. No, look.
Hey, I'm
There's a
just
way
looking
to.
at it in
There's
a
a way.
purely
There's a way.
engineering kind of a way.
I know. There's a way to do this. There's a way to get it done. Okay, and this tariff is a great
Water
start.
slide. How about a water slide? We
I
could do a
brought that
big
up.
water slide, just built rather than a wall, a giant tower with a water slide, nice
I
fun
said
one.
that.
Goes
That
like
was
halfway
humane.
past Tijuana.
No. It was a water. It was a flume ride into the Rio Grande. Okay, and the flume just doesn't come back. But that doesn't mean anybody
Yeah,
bad happens to them. They just go on a flume ride. Okay, and they go into the Rio Grande
that's
River.
right.
It's a nice thing. I'm being nice.
Yeah.
You went to another place. You a dark place. But anyway. Look,
I'm just
this
coming
can't.
up with transportation that's inexpensive. That's all.
Well, I don't mind spending money on this issue. I don't. I don't have a problem with that. This is a good place to spend money. So I don't have a problem spending money on this. Okay, but it can get done. It can get done. Okay, and this tariff is a great way to start. Okay, Mexico's going to start feeling this really fast, especially when it goes to 10%. Okay, I mean he should have started
Right.
at 10. He should have started at 10 and then to 20 and then 30. And okay,
Well, starting at 5 is good because it says, I'm serious, this is happening and nobody's stopping it. Tick
right.
tock. He
Well, you
did
just got to
start the
see. Okay,
5% further
okay,
into the month. The rest of them
okay.
start on the 1st.
Now here's the scary part. There's a lot of powerful
Yeah.
people, not a lot, but a few powerful people with a lot of money who are going to lose a lot of money on this deal. And you saw Grassley already talking shit, right? And then some other rhino Republicans already talking shit.
Sure.
So if you can get 20 Republicans in the Senate and whatever the number is in the House, that's your veto-proof majority, you can overturn this. So just let you know, it's not guaranteed. So I mean, a lot of special
Oh, I
interests can lose
know.
a lot of
I
money.
know. I
So
know there are people who make money off of this, but
no. I'm
the
not. I'm not
rich,
talking. Hold on. I'm not talking about the illegal immigration. I'm talking about the trade. I mean, there's what they
yes,
export to us like $375 billion a year, something like that. I mean, there's people who make money on that stuff crossing over. I mean, just by brokering the deals, big money, doing that. So those people have a lot of. And
but
Grassley,
also
you know,
there have to be some intelligent people that run these companies in this country that know that when $30 billion in remittance goes every year to Mexico, that money's being spent in Mexico. It's not being spent here.
well, yeah, well,
And
no, yeah, I know they know
also,
that.
there are other ways. There are other ways to make that money, and yeah, I'm just saying, the only way, and ultimately, this isn't permanent. Ultimately, this isn't permanent, and also, it's they want Mexico wants to be able to trade with the United States. They're going to eventually cooperate because they want to trade with the United States, but they have to do. It has to reach a point where the money that they're losing from not getting those remittances is going to be less than the amount that they're losing from losing out on trade. So
Right, I agree with
350
you.
billion
Very,
versus
very
30
intelligent
billion.
statement. Very intelligent statement, by the way, because they're looking at the balance sheet. Right. How much more can we
Yeah,
get
right.
remittances by these people all going?
So he's
Now,
right. He's hitting
now here's
them
the deal with
right in
Mexico,
the
though.
exact.
Did you watch my show on Monday?
I watched afterwards. Yeah,
Okay.
part of it afterwards. Half
On
of it.
Monday, now remember, Mexico is not sending as many people across. Okay. In 2007, it
Yes,
was
I know.
800,000. This 2000 fiscal year 2018 was only 150,000 Mexicans A lot more people
Right.
are staying in Mexico. They're not coming across as much. Now they may start
Mm-hmm.
now with this whole family bullshit stuff, but until that family bullshit thing went
Oh, we
through,
have to start the deportations too. That's the other part of it because they're already
well,
here,
here's the problem though. You
sending the
can't
money
deport
back.
them. You can't deport those family members. And look, deportation is a hot political issue. Look, I'm sorry, it is. You
That is.
can't just go start rounding people up. You know, even when you round up a criminal, you catch shit. You know, let alone just a family shopping at Walmart, like I said earlier. You know, you just go and
Yeah.
grab them, like 5 of them. No, no. You see the kids crying, and the press is there, and it's like this whole story, and oh, Jesus.
Well,
You
it's
know,
just it all comes from the lie that people who are born here automatically are citizens, which is a lie. It's not actually the law. It never was, but it has become through laziness and activist judges. It's become the law because
not even judges.
I don't really
If you
get
look
into
at the
that right now.
history, it was a bunch of bureaucrats sitting in their little
Yeah,
agencies back in the 60s saying, well, just change it like
right.
this and we'll do this.
Creating paper trails.
Right.
It's all paper trails. That's all it is. Oh, you've got a birth certificate. You've got a school record. Oh, you've got a driver's license. Well, let's give you a social security number while we're at it. Oh, now you're a citizen. Congratulations. And what?
Right.
How did they
Yeah.
get to be a citizen? Tell me something.
Yeah.
If I don't know, two diplomats from France come over to the United States and have a baby, is that a French citizen or is that an American citizen? A French
French.
citizen.
Right.
But how is it that people can cross illegally and they become their babies are automatically citizens? That is
They
not our law.
no,
That's
and
a
it's
lie.
funny you mentioned the French ambassador coming over because that was part of the debate in the Senate during the ratification of the 14th Amendment. Was like, well, wait a second, because they were doing it for they had to write it in such a way where the states couldn't mess with it. So that's why they made it like, okay, if you were I can't remember the language, I don't know why, but anyway, basically if you're a slave or a descendant of a slave, or if you were born here, you're a citizen. So because the states were denying citizenship rights to freed slaves. They're saying, okay, you freed them, good for you, but we're not going to say they're citizens. So hence the 14th Amendment. And they had to write, and so the fear was, well, wait a second, what if these foreign nationals come over here and have a baby? And they said, oh, no, 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 that doesn't count. Because the actual phrase, God damn it, arr, hold on.
Natural born citizens. Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. No. Uh,
Okay.
wait, hold on. Let me jump me over here. So you don't, well, okay. Okay, let's get to 14th Amendment. That shouldn't be hard to find. If you're like really easy. Hold on. There we go. Get the actual text. Here we go. Let's see. Let's see. The section one. Let's see. Section one, section two. What is it? What section is it? Damn it. Let's see. Okay, section one. I gotta want to blow it up though, so you guys can see it. Let me see if I can find. Let's try this one. Ah, there we go. Here we ask you to donate money. Stop it. Stupid ad. I go to the site. They want to donate money. Okay, hold on. Where are we? There we go. Okay. Do 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 do. Boom. All right. Let's take off this little thing here so people can see it. And put me here. Yay. All right. So, all persons born or naturalized in the United States And here's the clause everybody forgets. This is it right here. And subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. So the big clause, and this clause was debated, they said, oh no, when it says and subject to the jurisdiction thereof means that you're not a citizen of another country. Okay? That's what it meant. It means like you're not subject to the jurisdiction of like, France, or in this case, Mexico.
Right.
Okay? So
Right. Like a British subject is
right.
not an American subject.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why that clause was put in. Because the fear was, wait a second, some ambassador, in fact, they use that language in the debate when you read the transcript. It was like, well, wait, what if an ambassador, just like you said, comes over here and his wife and they have a kid, is that kid going to be a U.S. citizen? And, of course, this is 1867, 68. They're still thinking about 1812, but the British coming, right? Going to bring all these British subjects over, have babies, and take over the country. So that fear is still there. And plus, the British had just supported the South in the Civil War. So there's still some fear. So they put that language in there just for that reason, to say, no, if you're a citizen of another country and you come over here and you're not a citizen and you have a kid, no, it's not going to count. And so everybody seems to forget about that clause, and that's the whole reason that clause went in. Otherwise, you just would have said all persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States, and that's it. But there's that clause there.
So I disagree. I disagree that it's such a hot button issue, especially when you talk about these Democrats showing pictures of crying children. Wow, wow, wow. These are the same Democrats that are cheering to kill babies on the table. I give no craps about their propaganda. Americans know that children being dragged across that border are at risk. Americans know, a lot of Americans, not the ones that are willfully ignorant, but most Americans, the ones that are, marginally informed, know that it's not okay to drag children across the desert or mountains or rivers in, some of the worst places of Mexico through the drug cartel infested swamp, so to speak, desert of Mexico. Everything that happens at that border is bad for children. The disease, the criminality, the viciousness, the drugs, it's bad for children. And we also know an awful lot of those children are not the children of the people that they're with. So we just need, if you're worried about the narrative, we just need to play up the reality of the situation. Counter their propaganda of, oh, ho, ho, ho. But yes, children that are here already, a lot of them are recent, Carl. 4,000 people a day.
Yeah.
Support those. At least those people.
Yeah. Can't do it, family.
Wow.
They're in a family. And
they're not born here. They were drugged here.
I agree.
No.
I mean.
But, yeah.
But
so
we obviously have no say over who's allowed to come in here and who can't. So, well, see, that's the whole pitch of these guys. Mm-hmm. See, like when you have a discussion with these people or an argument, you say, well, they're breaking the law. Well, these people come back and say, well, there shouldn't be any law to begin with. We should all be one world. And it's funny, they're talking like H.W. Bush used to talk, like with the New World Order. Remember that?
Yeah.
New 1,000 points of light, New World Order. We're all in this together. It's a one big world, no borders. And these people are saying the same shit. Probably for the same reason.
You know what my argument to that is right now in 2019? Ebola.
Yep.
That's my argument. Well, Black Plague and measles and the other things. But there's a huge Ebola outbreak, and we have African migrants amassing at our border.
Right.
That's my argument. There shouldn't be a border, and we're all in this together.
Yeah,
I don't want to expose my son to Ebola. Sorry. I'm just mean that way.
Let me jump back to that story because I didn't finish it before when I went on my rant. So hold on.
We're both ranting tonight. I think it's too much caffeine. You need
I
to have
like
a
my
cigarette.
caffeine.
Calm down.
Let's see. Okay, let me jump down to the spot where I started ranting. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. This is important.
Part 2.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Bring a child and get released. Let's see. Do I have it up? Is it up? Yeah, good. Bring a child and get released, said a Customs and Border Protection official. CBP said the group included people from Angola, Cameroon, and Congo. That's where the Ebola outbreak is.
Yeah.
Right
there
now.
you go.
Like
That's
how
what
the hell
Ebola is.
and they're supposed to be trying to contain that. Yeah.
Dear Lord.
Yeah.
Good luck
Other
with
African
that.
migrants have
A
previously benefited
mutating
from the
virus,
family.
they can't contain that.
Yeah. Well, they can't contain the people, obviously. These people came all the way from the Congo, got to Mexico, and traveled up the freaking coast.
Well, we know who paid for that. I certainly couldn't afford a trip to Africa, but apparently they can afford to get here. How did that happen?
No shit. I don't know. And then, like, when you get here, it's between 1,000 to 3,000 per person. And since they're from Africa, they probably get charged the full amount. You know what I'm saying? They probably get charged because, like, they can't say no. It's not like they walk back home, right? These guys in the cartel know,
Right.
well, you're here, pay us $3,000 or see ya. You may have to negotiate the price with.
This is an emergency. Yeah. Just for that reason alone, this is an emergency of an existential threat, and George Soros is funding this. His Open Societies Foundation is funding this. Like, remember I told you when I researched the CARA family the family CARA, that was a group of 4 organizations, 3 of which are funded by the Soros Open Border Society Foundation, or whatever it's called. They are paying the governments and the people and whatever organizations and criminals that they have to pay to get these caravans together. They're funding, literally, the caravans. So this is war of a different kind. And our politicians are too stupid to see this for what it is. It's an invasion. It's intentional. It's coordinated. It's well-funded. It's foreign powers and entities that are, conspiring, governments as well as private organizations, wealthy people like Soros, and it is intentional. This is an invasion in the modern age. This is modern age warfare, and it's just like what we said at the beginning of the 2000s after the World Trade Center attack. They have been at war with us, and we have not been at war with them. So we had to wake up that day.
Right.
Well,
yeah,
this is another wake-up
day.
call that needs to happen. Yeah. This is another way of, we are being attacked, and we need to wake up about it. It's not just a bunch of random people all coming together at the same time. And the other crazy thing about the propaganda, which is what leftists always do, is they reverse the story. I have heard leftists say that somehow the Republicans are making the caravans happen because they want it to pretend there's a crisis. For why?
Right.
How in the heck? What? That makes as much sense as Donald Trump being a freaking Russian spy or something, or sleeping agent or sleeper agent or whatever.
It's like no, we don't want a crisis. We could do without a crisis. We could just talk about the economy and say how great it is. We don't need a crisis to win 2020. I mean, just look at the numbers.
We have a country full of Democrats. We have enough to worry about. We don't need to add more crisis as Republicans. Not that I'm a Republican, but I'm just saying, speaking on behalf of Republicans, which I'm not qualified to speak on behalf of, I'm just saying Republicans don't need to. Yeah, so that's just a shining example of, projection right there. But, I have a question on a completely different subject.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since we've hammered this one. Okay, so I said that I would start doing my own videos rather than just doing panel calls. And, I do those too. And I decided I don't like talking to a camera by myself. It's just not me.
Okay.
It's boring. Anyway, I don't like it. So
okay.
what I'm thinking I would like to do is I would like to do interviews. And I would like to do, that's what I'm going to do. I want to do interviews, have a guest, do an interview show, and
Right.
make it a series of questions. And I want my overall channel theme to be problem solving and overcoming. So say I want to interview someone who's come out of a cult situation or someone who has overcome a particular illness and that sort of thing. Like, okay, this is where I was and this is where I am now and this is what I did to get to that point. So what do you
Right.
think about that?
I think it sounds great. I think it's like a really good
You think
idea.
that sounds interesting?
Yeah.
It
And then,
interests
like,
me.
I can't remember if you have a
Does it
Mac
interest?
or a PC. Do you have a Mac or a PC?
I would never have a Mac.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
So then you need, well, okay. No, you don't have to do this. You could use Google Hangouts. Okay. It's automatic on your YouTube channel. You use Google Hangouts, and you can interview people on Google Hangouts. You don't have to get any kind of additional software. If you go to your YouTube channel, you'll see where it says like live now, or I have to go back and look to see where you start from. But you can say, it'll say Google Hangouts, and then if somebody has a Gmail, you shoot them a link because on
Mm-hmm. Sure.
your Google Hangouts is right there on the left. You just got to initialize it.
Mm-hmm.
You go click open, and there's your Google Hangouts. So say you want to interview somebody, and you call them ahead of time. Say, okay, I'll send you the Google Hangout link. It's real simple. I mean, it's really, really simple. Um, I don't use it here because the quality isn't as good as the vMix. But as far as
Mm-hmm.
right there, a lot of people I watch use it, and it's good. It's fine. Works good. So, boom. And then you got them on Google Hangouts. You don't have to get any new software or anything. Yeah. You can
Yeah.
control their
Yeah.
audio.
That's
You
what
can
I want
adjust
to
their
do.
audio. You can adjust their audio. You can
Mm-hmm.
turn them off. You can turn them on, whatever. You know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a really good idea.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's that's more me. I have other ideas of things I want to subject-wise cover, but I just me sitting and talking to a camera is just nah. I
Not your
don't know.
thing.
I'm not,
Well, it's funny.
not my
I remember
thing.
the first
I
time I
mean, I
did it.
can rant. Don't get me wrong. Everybody can rant, but I mean, who wants to hear me rant? So I think I'd rather go that way.
Well, I remember
Have
the
a
first video I
conversation with
did.
somebody, and
Yeah, it's kind of crazy
mm-hmm.
at first when you first do it because you realize you're just talking to a camera. You know.
Yeah, and I wanted to go somewhere. I want to have conversations with people who have accomplished something. I want to put out useful information, not just venting my opinion that a bunch of other people already have on subjects. I mean, I have a knack for putting things together and seeing patterns and that sort of thing, but I'm not there's a lot of other people that do that. So I think I just would rather focus on, I'm solutions oriented, and I like to get to, how did you get from A to B? You had suicidal depression and now you're doing all right. Tell me how you got there. And maybe it will help somebody who's where you are, or your family was raised you in a cult and you managed to get out of that scenario. How did you do that?
Right.
I think it's more useful. I guess I'm just more interested in solutions, looking for solutions, and it doesn't necessarily have to be political in nature. Just solutions. That's
Well,
interesting to me.
no.
I
I
don't know.
mean, the thing about
Do you think
YouTube, like,
that would be
okay,
boring?
no. Look, first of all, here's the deal.
Oh.
Okay, YouTube is about. Well, first of all, it was supposed to be about YouTube, right? So, if you find a topic
Sure.
that look, I like news and politics. That's me. Well, and some people like news and politics. They want to watch news and politics. But people have other interests. So even people who watch news and politics want to watch other stuff. I want to watch other stuff. So, yeah, that's the whole point. It's like find a topic that you're good at, that you know about, that you want to learn more about, and do it. It's not hard to get started on YouTube. If you have a YouTube channel already, and you just got to learn how to navigate through the back channels and stuff. You know, your own channel and the features and all that. But with your background, shit, it's nothing for you. Not like me. You know, I'm like learning all this stuff brand new. You know, learning words I never heard before, having to Google every word I'm reading. You know, I'm on Google googling a word.
Yeah, I think my issue is more the putting on a show kind of. That's the part that's not me. I'm not a, you know, I'm more a make it happen person than be the person in front of the camera person. So
Oh, you're the behind the
that's the
scenes
weird part
person.
for me.
Yeah. Well, no.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean
look.
by
I mean,
nature,
look. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Do I enjoy phone calls and panels and video phone calls more than me just giving my opinion on the news? Definitely. Who doesn't? Of course, everybody does. I mean, I can sit here, read the news, give my commentary. I enjoy doing that. But do I enjoy the interaction more? Of course. And like you
Hmm.
brought up the topic about DeSantis and stuff, I never heard about it. Anytime I've done interviews or phone calls or panel shows, people say something I never heard about. I'm like, oh, good. Like, oh, tell me, you know?
Yeah,
So, yeah, of
I
course.
thought your panels were really good. Yeah, I thought they were really good. And the good thing when you have like 4 or 5, 6 people is that there's a break. If there's a break in the flow of conversation, someone else can fill it in.
Right.
Or if someone can't remember a name, someone else pops up with the name. I love that. So
Exactly.
it's really good.
Exactly. Yeah, I got to do another panel show
Yeah, it's
again.
much more fast moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's much more
I want to
fast
get some.
moving, and of course without the commercial breaks and crap that you get on television panels. So it's
Yeah.
much
I
better.
just, I just want to get a panel where there's just not, like, if I have 5 people on, there's just not, well, like, say 6 total, including me. If I have 6 people on, there's just not 2 people talking. If I
Hmm.
throw a question out there and it's about something in the news, and then only 2 people have an opinion, and I'm one of those people, then what am I doing a panel show for? And that happened a couple of times with me on my panel show.
Yeah,
I know that
yeah.
because
I was
I know
on.
that because
I
you were
was
the other
there.
person, okay, and it was just you and me, and I got 5 other people there, and I'm like, hey, what about? I can't remember what the topic was, but it was like really hot news story, and it was like crickets. It was like, well,
And I literally said, and crickets from the
right,
panel.
yeah, it was like, what the shit, It's like so, and it takes a lot of work to set one of those things up too. You got to be emailing people and
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
confirmations, and then lining up where the cameras are going to be and all that, and then it's like that's. I'll be honest with you, that's why I haven't done one in a while. It's just, I
yeah.
was talking to
I think
O'Shea.
you'll have to just kind of choose your
Right,
team, get to the point where you know who you want to work with, and then make it a regular thing so people can make sure to have arrange their time to be there for you on those days. And it's
right.
just going to
Well, it's
take
funny
time
because
to work out
I was
those
talking to
people.
I was talking to O'Shea, well, emailing him back and forth, and then in his chat too. And I said, I'm going to steal some of your people because, like, his panels are like, no, trust me, nobody has crickets. I mean, people fight to get their opinion out on his panel shows, you know. So I mean, literally, he has to mute people's microphones, just to be able to have a conversation. And I'm like, I'm going to steal some of those people. And he's like, oh, they'd wreck it for you. They'd wreck it, because he gets hot.
Yeah,
He gets
yeah.
pretty
Well,
heavy
I mean,
on them, you know.
that can go too far the other way, so that's too much too. You don't want to get to the point where you can't. It's a melee, so you can't hear anything.
Right. Well, no, he
So
just mutes
yeah,
people.
but
He
I
just he
do.
just he just mutes people. Oh no, you're muted. Click, 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 click. He
Yeah.
leaves them on. He goes, okay, we can see you, but you're muted. Click. But
Oh
no,
no,
O'Shea.
that's
That's
gonna be
where
embarrassing.
O'Shea's where I got my first 1,000 subs from his site. 'Cause he had me on
Yeah,
an
yeah.
interview. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I was watching. I forgot it was like 2 weeks ago, and I'm watching it, and I'm like really enjoying his panel show, and I'm like, damn, this is really good. So I wrote to him. I said, "I'm stealing
Oh,
these.
that's
I'm stealing
good.
some of these people." That's it. I'm gonna grab them.
Yeah, I think yeah, I like the panel. You did a couple that weren't that bad though. I really liked. I think they turned out well, and the people in the chat liked them. So I think
Oh wait,
you
hold
were
on,
onto
hold on,
something.
hold
It's
on,
just
hold on, hold on.
hmm
It's the Johnson, no teeth allowed. Anyone else here that is from Axe Truth? Yeah, all of us. We're all from Axe Truth. We're all from Axe Truth. But yeah, I was watching Axe earlier, and he was supposed to go on at 6:30, right? So I saw that. I said, okay, I'll set it for 10, and then he didn't come on until like after 7, and I was like, well. So I figured I think he might have still been on when I started, but I'm like, well, 10 o'clock. That's pretty late. So, but yeah, we're all from Axe Truth here for the most part. Um, Probably a lot of us
hmm
probably met was from his channel, wasn't it? I don't know. Did I
Yeah,
meet
I
you?
went. I
Yeah,
met. Yeah, it was from Max. Yeah,
yeah. Like
yeah. I
a
had
few of us, some of his original OGs, original gangsters. We were with him like in the
with
very,
Axe
very, very,
and then
very beginning.
Nanya, and then I haven't seen Nanya in a while. What the heck's going on with Nanya?
I have not seen Nanya in a while either. Nanya Business. Yeah, I've not seen her in a long
Yeah.
time.
So
I haven't seen her anywhere.
Nanya introduced me to you.
Okay.
That's yeah, but it was from Axe's channel.
Yeah. Well, Axe's channel was in the very, very beginning, it was like mine as far as number of people on the coming on and watching and stuff. And you remember the first time he did a live call-in show, and he was shocked. He goes, "Wow, there's actually people on here." It was like it was kind of funny. And we're all laughing. We're like, "Yeah, this is hilarious." Like he went on one time. He was on for like 5, 6 hours straight. It was like he finished up like I went to bed my time like 2:30 in the morning. It was like 5:30 his time on the East Coast. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
he was just
Yeah,
yeah,
I know. He's like me. He's got no particular set hours to be awake or asleep and
right.
so you never know when he's going to go on and for how long.
Right, right. Yeah, I was watching the show. Oh,
Pretty
oh, yeah,
much
I saw you on there.
whenever he
I saw you on
pleases.
his. Yeah, I saw you in the chat, and I was on his chat earlier. You know, goofing off. I called in.
Yeah, I
I
caught
couldn't believe I
some of
got
it.
through. Was that last night? No, Thursday. Thursday night, I was watching,
I was working
and
Thursday. Didn't see it.
yeah, Thursday night I was watching a show, and I didn't have anything set up. I didn't have my mic set up, anything, nothing. And I said, "Oh, let me just try calling." So I just called it on my cell, and I got through. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, "Eggs." He goes, "Oh shit." I'm like, "I can't believe I got through." He goes, "Yeah, that's crazy." But yeah, it was totally cool. But but yeah, it was.
Yeah,
I'm really
that
glad
I
he's
did.
doing good. I'm
Hmm.
really glad he's doing good. He's great at getting the message out. I told him that too. I said, look, I don't blow smoke up anybody's ass, and you know that about me. He goes, no, I know. And I told him right on air. I said, you're the best at getting our message out. You're the best at it. So, and I mean it.
Well,
He is.
yeah, he's in a good position to reach a lot of people who wouldn't
Yeah,
listen. Wouldn't I'm sorry, but they won't listen to you because you're a white guy, and
yeah,
they won't listen to me because I'm a white hetero,
right.
cisgender, whatever
And
they call you nowadays.
he's a former
So
Bernie supporter too. He was on the left. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and
So he,
I don't even have a walkaway story because I've never been a Democrat,
right.
and so yeah, I can't really say. It's about that kind of connectivity. He has that. And I also know he has cover, of course, being, his having his particular combination of intersectional,
Right.
categories. He can, evade, some of at least from the people who on the left who are white people who call other white people racist and it's homophobic
Yeah, they
and
have a hard time
sexist
calling
and
him
all that
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
They can't
Yeah.
call him that.
Well, no, you sound like an
Now
idiot.
the
I mean,
black
you could,
leftists,
but you sound
they're going to
stupid.
attack him because they're going to anyway. So they use different kinds of attacks. So he's going to get it from black people and probably other gay people for that matter.
Right.
But he's not going to get it from the white leftists so much because their own religion prevents them from attacking him in that way.
Right. Well, and plus
So
it
it's
sounds
kind of,
stupid. It was like what's his name was doing they were out in L.A. Who was it? David Harris was out there, and it was this young white woman telling him that he was a racist for supporting Trump. And David Harris is a black guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And David Harris was
they
like,
were calling what's her name? Candace Owen was being called a white supremacist in that restaurant. They called her a white supremacist and a Nazi, and I was like, dang. Oh, they're so mal-educated, though. These poor fools. They just don't even know what they don't know. It's sad if it weren't so dangerous, because stupid people in large numbers is a dangerous thing. That's the unfortunate part of all this.
But I mean, I was watching that. I was watching that show when that girl called him that, and then somebody else covered it. But I was watching. And his face was like you see him a black guy, right?
Oh yes, I remember that.
And he's like, you noticed that, right? And she's like, it was too funny. But yeah, no, but that's
they weren't. They couldn't see it with a radio show. So
he was in the street.
Is that the one you're talking about?
No, not that one. Not that one. No, you're talking about. I know you're talking about. You're talking about something else, right? No, it was. That was the one. Oh God, who was that? I can't remember. But no, Harris was on the street. They had a Blexit convention in L.A. and Harris lives in Northern Cal. Well, he did at the time. He just moved. He used to live in Northern Cal, but not too far Northern Cal. Kind of Sonoma kind of shit. So they were in L.A., so he came down for that. And they're in the street, and they're wearing their Make America Great Again hats and stuff. That's what it was. She called him a racist for wearing the hat. And this white woman telling a black guy that he's a racist. And he's like, are you what? Are you crazy? Is something wrong with you? There's something wrong with you, And Harrison's a pretty funny guy, I don't know if you ever watch him. Yeah. I've ordered some of his products and stuff. Yeah, he's pretty cool.
See, anyway, and that is the one area where I would want to be delusional enough to want to be, to be like what's her name, the woman who, Doxel, the one that pretends to be a black.
Dolezal. Dolezal. Yeah.
Dolezal. Yeah. I would, it's the one area where I'd want to have whatever she has, in her, what's wrong with her brain. Because, you can get away with saying stuff to people like, are you crazy? To their face. And, I'm talking about not people, leftists, not people. And I'm not talking about Democrats. I'm talking about those extremist leftists, those SJW crazy, devoid of reality types. You can get away with saying stuff to them if you're part of some kind of marginalized group or combination. It'd be better if I was black and gay and, had one leg and, maybe if I was a little person. But
one leg. Like one leg. It's like throw the
be one-legged little person hopping up and down going, "Is you crazy?" I would love to be able to get away with that stuff because you can't. You're not allowed to talk as normal old white person, and they have been pushing white women out of their leftist club. And I'm interested.
Not allowed anymore.
Straight black people.
Not allowed anymore.
Yes, it's so.
No, but you know what? I think Again, it comes back to things change slowly, and I think we're turning. It's the needle is going in the other direction. Now it's slow. It's a slow needle, but again, that's our country, and I love it. So it's a slow needle, but it's starting to come back around again. That's how people they get a little cocky.
Yeah, it is.
They overreach, just like on the abortion issue, just like on the immigration issue.
In the abortion issue, exactly.
Right? They overreach, and then comes the pushback. So I think on this whole politically correct and who can speak, who can't, and who's intersectional and who isn't, and who's this, who's that. I think you're starting to see the pushback coming on that. It's
Yeah.
slow,
Hmm.
but it's coming back. But anyway, with that said, tell you what, been on for about 2.5 hours, and I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream. So,
Yay.
Effie, don't go nowhere. So I just want to say to everybody, thanks for coming by and watching, and thanks to those in the chat and to all those who will be watching later. Thank you so much. And for Carl's opinion, this is Carl. Have a great night. And Effie, go ahead.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for listening.
All right, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Good night, Effie.
Bye-bye.